This port city in western Saudi Arabia looks like the aftermath of a building collapse, or else some kind of terrible eruption, but it's none of that. It's actually just starting and the worst is yet to come. The massive plume of smoke spreads evenly across the horizon, and at 1 minute and 15 seconds you briefly get a glimpse of where it finally ends. There's no outrunning this event, and finding shelter is almost pointless. The cloud is growing taller by the minute as it heads towards them. The air is becoming gritty and it's getting harder to breathe. Vehicles desperately try to get away at the last second, but it's too late for any of them to get far, nor the cameraman for that matter, who seems resigned to his fate and makes no such attempt. This is a massive sandstorm, and if you haven't found shelter by now, you're in big trouble. The winds pick up and everything around him starts creaking unsteadily.
Yan, nandito na. Nandito na ang storm. Parating na. Sige.
Someone tell me what his last words are, and if you think he made it through this event.
Yan, hindi ka maklarito.
Those are the last recorded moments before I assume the sand broke his camera. We may not get to see what happens next, but I doubt it was anything good. Either way, there's something about the possibility of this whole town getting buried alive that makes this video creepy beyond words. This demolition house of horror has these urban explorers walking on eggshells. Published to YouTube by Urban Ghosts Urban Exploration in May of 2021, Joe and Chris work their way through a pair of houses being torn down for demolition. Joe says they were contacted by the workers who were cleaning the houses out and were told they felt a presence here. And you'll definitely feel it too as you watch the video. Whatever is in these houses is making its presence known through whispers. As the explorers wander into the bathroom, you can hear incoherent whispering. A moment later, a man's voice says yeah, when asked if the spirits in the house will talk to them.
Will you talk to us if there's spirits here?
Later, more whispering is heard.
May give us some clues.
And later again. Indiscernible what the voice or voices are saying. What is distinctly heard, however, is a growl that happens when Joe is positioning the camera down a staircase. What do you think is hanging around these demolition houses? And what will they do when their homes are destroyed? Another poltergeist is haunting an abandoned church, and this one isn't so playful. Published to YouTube in July of 2021, this abandoned church has some supernatural visitors. Inside the church, amongst the whistling in the wilderness, something thuds nearby. The boys hold still, trying to listen for more unexplained noises. Moments later, they are standing there, casting light on the wall, when a distant, low-pitched moan is heard in the background. Well, in what looks like a basement space with lots of old items stored, a blast of sound is heard in the next room.
Güey, ¿qué pedo?
Ven.
Güey.
Ven. Se oyó acá, se oyó allá. Se oyó allá, güey.
Something heavy and out of sight was thrown on the ground. As the boys attempt to speak to the spirit, another strange moan sounds faintly.
Hola.
And then a couple of shelf doors are slammed shut with great force. In another area of the haunted church, several small successive thuds are followed by a strange double beep. They quickly get away from that space. Later, when peeking around a corner, a cabinet door slowly closes. Whatever is closed isn't caught on camera. Not long after, a big heavy door slowly opens before being jarringly half shut. They approach the door. There is nothing on the other side. As the scary video wraps up, one of the crew is taking in a dark room when they hear a faint noise in the darkness.
Como lo hicimos en aquella ocasión que entramos a este.
They look over, shining a light there but find nothing. What is following them through this church? Perhaps a demon that couldn't be redeemed? A YouTuber named Mr. Technical Difficult and his friends are hanging out by a river when they see an old abandoned cooler on the other side. They don't pay much attention to it at first, but after a while they grow curious as to what could possibly be inside. Finally, they can't take the suspense anymore and decide to retrieve the floating container. What they find inside is troubling.
Open the hatch.
They remove an excessive amount of masking tape and pop the lid only to see a black-eyed doll peering back at them. The creepy doll is dressed in red suspenders and its head is turned directly towards the camera. No one knows what to make of this unsettling discovery, and they all stand around for a bit laughing nervously. To this day, the group has absolutely no explanation as to how or why this doll was sealed and sent down the river, or more importantly, who is responsible for this strange message. A Pakistani health and beauty channel called Beautify With Me recently caught a creepy sighting on video that has left them horrified. A hooded figure in black robes is caught on multiple CCTV cameras haunting the outside of their house. It looks pretty scary until the figure walks by the first camera, at which point you can see they are wearing sneakers or some kind of modern looking footwear that doesn't exactly match the rest of their spooky outfit. Still, this video is a major departure from the rest of their channel, and this is a really weird video to fake a day before Christmas, so maybe it's real, not necessarily a real ghost video, but maybe a creepy stranger encounter caught on CCTV. Whatever it is, the mysterious figure hasn't shown up on her security cameras since, and hopefully never will. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Eric relies on Randonautica to show them the scariest place they've ever seen, and it doesn't let them down. They soon find themselves at the end of a long dirt road with multiple signs, and one of them is a warning. Google wasn't able to translate the wording perfectly, but apparently this sign says that the property is owned by a dangerous witch who has eyes on them at all times. If someone could tell me the full message, I would really appreciate it. They find two fences lined with creepy dolls. Some of the dolls are burned and have parts missing, as if they were used for black magic rituals before being placed on display as a warning for all to see. It must have taken a lot of time and dedication to collect so many dolls, and I wouldn't be surprised if the children who own them are being kept somewhere nearby. At the end of the road, they find 3 homemade mannequins wearing old clothes that could be scarecrows for a small garden, or more ritual props.
Do you guys see that?
Something looks weird about the one on the left. When they get closer, since I don't see any crops, I don't think it's a garden. The way this is all set up looks more like a memorial, if anything. I wouldn't be surprised if some passed on individuals were buried below the earth here, and I don't think I want to find out. A little farther up the trail, they find this old shack that looks more like a place to hold somebody, or something creepy like that rather than a place to live. They are about to explore the shed when they feel distant eyes upon them and go running. I have to say, that seems like the right choice. Something is manifesting in this abandoned hospital. YouTuber Lalo Escalante captured this creepy entity on camera during a paranormal investigation. The spirit there does not want to let them in.
Haz algo, pues. No mames, güey. Yo me voy a la mierda de aquí, güey. No, güey. No, yo me voy, güey. No,
El tercer piso está más caro.
But it is there. See it lurking at the end of this hallway?
Claro, ¿qué es eso? Hola. Vete a la verga, güey. Vete a la verga, güey. Dale, güey. Dale, nadie, güey.
When they enter the room, they find nothing, but the spirit continues to play.
A todo recorrido, ¿qué onda, güey? Güey, tocaron la puerta, güey.
Aquí donde siente más.
And then they see it again.
¿Está alguien con nosotros?
Hola. La mira, güey. Abajo el vidrio. La mira, güey. Cerró la puerta.
But it always somehow evades them. The spirit again disappears.
Ey, se estaba sonando.
¡Bestia, güey! ¿Quién está ahí?
Only to make one last spooky cameo. What does this spirit want? To me, it's difficult to tell if this is even a spirit at all. It looks solid and moves like a human. Then again, it disappears in a way that's unbelievable. It could go either way for me. What do you think is going on here? Is this a goblin? An extraterrestrial? Whatever it is, it's trending in the Brazilian YouTube community. Shared by YouTube channel EXTV, the video shows a gangly creature sitting dejectedly at the foot of stadium seating. It's hard to tell what this creature is, even more so after it looks up at us. Its glowing eyes and pointed ears do tell us one thing: it's not human. It moves to get up. And when it stands, you see just how gangly it is. Its long, thin limbs are barely able to lift its large, barrel-like body, but looks can be deceiving. On its feet, it turns out that it's quite nimble. That sound was terrifying. We can assume the cameraman lived to share this footage, but we can't assume he didn't pee his pants in the process. The footage looks real enough to be considered authentic. Even the creature's shadow seems to fall in accordance with all other shadows in frame, but this is, in fact, a production. I tracked down the original source, JJPD Producciones, which specializes in CGI. I'm happy to find that this creepy goblin doesn't exist in reality, at least I hope. A man is videotaping an abandoned home from above when he catches what could be something paranormal as it dashes away. A misty black cloud snakes along the wall and trails off into the abandoned house, veering out of sight. The cameraman zooms in for a better look but finds nothing. I think this appears to be CGI, but the way the cameraman behaves makes me think that it could be real. He stays focused on the spot for a little bit, then draws back and studies the entire area for more activity. He doesn't immediately stop recording like most videos. Sylvian Nicholas has a motion sensor camera that turned on momentarily to catch this strange airborne entity, as indicated by the green box. Take a look again in slow motion and tell me if this was a spirit orb, a giant speck of dust, a bug, or something else altogether. YouTuber Memoria Sobrenatural INC believes they were guided to this location by something paranormal, and maybe that's true, but it doesn't seem to want to let him in.
Opa! Cara, que é isso, mano? Cara, que é isso?
At first, it seems like something might just be pushed up against the door blocking it, but then you see movement. Watch the crack in the doorway.
Olha isso, cara. Dá uma olhada.
Whatever's inside doesn't seem human.
Cara, você é louco? Eu juro que eu achei que eu tinha visto o demônio aqui agora, na hora que eu fui abrir a porta. Cara, meu coração foi a mil aqui, ó. Bom, pessoal, eu acho que...
Phew, it's just a bull. Or is it? I think this horned beast is more demon than it appears.
Do you hear that?
Airy Safari 13 and their friend hear a mysterious knocking on the door of the laundry room. Listen again.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that?
That's not a washing machine, that's knocking. They go to the door and there's nothing there as far as I can tell, but that doesn't mean there isn't a ghost in the hallway haunting them. When they go up to the door, it stops, but that just makes this TikTok video even scarier in my opinion, because it's like the ghost is messing with them. A social security office is a pretty strange building to be haunted, but a YouTuber named Joshua Bragg is convinced, after capturing two of the scariest moments on CCTV video that he still cannot explain.
Back up a little bit, there it goes, down here in the corner. It's not a bug, people. I don't know what this is. I always know that there's a ghost in this place. So creepy.
I was thinking this dark orb-like figure was an insect, except here's the thing, Joshua has seen the same figure before on a different security camera, in a different room, on a different night. Last time it went out the back entrance and walked across the parking lot in a straight line.
Right here. That is no bug. That is no bug.
I think he's right because an insect walking across should look like a solid black shape. Whatever this is looks translucent and is therefore most likely something paranormal. If there was a soundtrack to your nightmares, it would probably sound like this. Posted to TikTok by Hannah Hallett. She writes simply, help? You'd be seeking help too if this Yankee Doodle was blaring outside your window in the darkness of night. Hannah captures what looks like an ice cream truck making a U-turn on her road in the darkness. Well, that's a little odd considering the time of day, but not overly scary. The fact that the truck's haunting children's music is blaring from its speakers, even as darkness envelopes the night, is absolutely terrifying. Who is this ice cream man trying to attract? Imagine this nightmare fuel filtering into your subconscious as you fall off to sleep. Pretty sure nightmares would be a guarantee. Abdullah Al-Anbari is followed by what he describes as a ghoul when he explores an old neighborhood that was abandoned long ago. His stalker appears to be a silhouette, even under a high-powered light that brightens everything around it.
Bismillah.
It could be someone wearing long flowing robes, or it could be a shadow person. Maybe it's just me, but the ghoul looks much bigger here at 5 minutes and 54 seconds when he sees it again. When it pokes around the corner at 8 minutes and 3 seconds, it seems much larger than the average sized person. Even from down this long hill, you can see this figure is indeed tall and strong looking too, as it lumbers ahead. It looks like the creature is going to follow him all the way home, if he lets it, so Abdullah recites a phrase, at which point the ghoul recoils from the sacred words, or perhaps more realistically, ducks under the window and is not seen again.
له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه.
Was this all planned, or did a phantom really spontaneously follow him? This house is supposedly haunted, and the family room reportedly has the most activity out of anywhere. As you can see in this close-up shot, there is nothing out of the ordinary about this mirror at all. But once the paranormal investigation is underway, a woman's colorless face appears in the upper left quadrant. She is staring directly at the camera with two black holes for eyes, her thin lips and nose clearly visible. As far as I can see, there is nothing in the room that could cast such a strangely vivid reflection. Alex Griffin runs a sports channel nowadays, but years ago he was briefly into conducting paranormal investigations at the most haunted places he could find. One such foray was the exploration of Borley Church, a place where organs are said to play by themselves and chanting can be heard from inside. There's also the ghost of Katie Borham, a housemaid who was said to have lost her life under mysterious circumstances that could have involved unknowingly ingesting toxic chemicals. Katie is the ghost they are hunting tonight, and so Alex Griffin and his friends logically start exploring the old haunted cemetery for paranormal evidence. They make the mistake of disrespecting her name along the way and start hearing some scary noises soon after.
I don't know what to say. Just shout out, Katie. Katie! What the What the
The amateur investigators run away at first, but soon agree that they can't leave the mystery unsolved and need to find more paranormal evidence. They return to the cemetery and the bravest of them steps forward to taunt Katie into showing herself.
See?
What happened again?
So I didn't see anything, but he senses a ghost and I tend to believe him. After all, he was the one trying to impress his friends the hardest, so I don't think he'd run away like that and risk embarrassing himself unless he was really scared. The paranormal investigators step forward as one, and a single light glows in the woods even when their camera is not shining on it. It's not exactly the best paranormal evidence ever recorded, but the timing is definitely odd and makes you wonder what this light could be. And with their backs turned, the noise returns.
Your slaves and all, mate.
It sounds like one of them would have thrown a rock or something and hits the top of the tin roof, but then again, this is exactly the kind of paranormal activity that this place is known for. It's years later and not one of them stepped forward to take credit for throwing a rock and scaring the group, so maybe this supposed paranormal activity is real after all. Okay, here's a weird one. The closet door in this bedroom keeps opening by itself, but before I even get into that, look what happens with the lamp. Somehow the bulb becomes extremely bright and goes back to normal despite lacking a dimmer switch. After that, the closet door swings open seemingly all by itself. Tell me if you see any signs of human interference here because I see none whatsoever.
There it goes. And as you can see, there's nothing there.
I thought they were using a hook or something on the bottom right to pull the door open, but when I watched again I saw it was just a power strip running to the lamp. If anything, the door actually moves the strip out of the way, not the other way around. The closet looks too full to hold another item, but who knows what else was in there staring at them from the other side. Mustafa Sven is one of the very few brave paranormal exploration channels from Iraq, and he is definitely one of the best. Let's check out a 24-hour challenge he took at a scary haunted abandoned house that he's always been afraid to go exploring. It isn't long until paranormal entities come wailing for him, and all of the creepiness is caught on video with 2 different cameras. It starts with little things that are quite weird, like a shadow moving strangely in the hall behind him. I mean, yeah, I guess it could just be his hand, but the shadow doesn't exactly follow his movements, and I don't know, the angles just don't match up. Then, shortly after the spooky shadow passes by, more weird things are caught on camera. The backpack is actually very well balanced and should not tip over, and it bothers him that it does. He tries to recreate the situation and cannot. Scary noises aside, the backpack is far from the only object caught on camera moving by itself on this haunted night. A stone silently dislodges from the mantelpiece and crashes to the ground, followed by another one. The poltergeist is pulling this house apart brick by brick, willing to do whatever it takes to scare this ghost hunter away. A padlock bounces on its own like a ghost is trying to open the door. Watch closely and tell me if you think this is a poltergeist or someone on the other end of the door poking through the crack with a stick. But just when I was beginning to think this video might not be paranormal, it becomes one of the creepiest videos I've seen in a long time. A rising wail of spirits closing in makes him realize this 24-hour challenge needs to be cut about 20 hours short, and so he finally leaves. This entry is a poltergeist 3-parter. The first clip was published by Adam in November of 2021. It shows a cabinet with a mind of its own. One of the drawers opens repeatedly, slamming closed each time. Next, an object falls from above, knocking a picture frame and another object to the floor. But these poltergeists are just getting started. In the second clip, published in October of 2021 by Weird and the Bizarro News, a soda can on the counter moves ever so slightly. It later slides across the counter and twirls all the way down. Then it begins to jump up and down. Another creepy clip shows a computer lab with a couple of office chairs acting on their own. They wheel around the lab, twirling and then really launching across the floor. If these clips weren't caught on camera, would you believe they happened? This video evidence seems to prove that no matter how much we think we know, we do not know everything. Jenlar Sebastian Diamond is a YouTuber who appears to be calling out some sort of high-level corruption, though I have no idea what he means. The first video he ever made is extremely hard to understand because he is mumbling something while holding his ID. Then he plays some text-to-speech program for a minute that unfortunately also makes little sense to me as well.
Today that children, their mothers, fathers, and young girls are being severely mistreated.
Almost all of his videos start with him showing his ID and then playing the text-to-speech program outside of his window or in various public places. There's little context to go off of, which somehow makes these videos even stranger. Even his ordinary trips to the grocery store somehow seem creepy as he slowly photographs everything that he is buying, and the receipt like they are all important evidence. Judging by the number of mysterious videos he makes every day, this dark issue must constantly be on his mind. A team of ghost investigators patrol through a dark farmhouse at 3 a.m. and set up their equipment. Suddenly, their thoughts are interrupted by an overwhelmingly powerful force.
What's that?
What was that?
An adjacent door flies open soon as they shine their flashlight up into the attic. The team feels like they are being watched from something outside. They're talking about what to do next when they witness another display of brute force.
We get to experience an EVP session in a creepy abandoned house.
Something smashes the window out and they see what appears to be a white apparition slowly walking away. The object has no distinct shape and somehow seems to be both near and far at the same time.
What the was that? Holy shit! There's somebody out there!
All of them scramble to the car and take one last look as they leave. It's really hard to see, but zoom in on the window and you'll see a head move away on the left side. Let me know if you see what I mean or not. A TikToker named Melody Zaragoza 1121 has an experience she will never forget on a flight, as she later describes simply as being not fun. All of the monitors go haywire and flash on and off in strange patterns, bathing the cabin in a green alien-like glow. At one point, they all turn on at once, almost as if there is some sort of deeper communication efforts at play. But without any further evidence, I would just as soon attribute this experience to faulty wiring, which, now that I think about it, is probably one of the few instances where a ghost could be arguably preferable. While visiting an abandoned mental hospital in Allentown, Pennsylvania, Spirit Realm Investigations captured what they believe is an apparition on camera. Watch the bottom right window followed by the middle windows. Did you see that? Something seems to peek out and then shift between these two windows. To me, the shape in the bottom right window is convincing. It looks like a figure peeking out and then vanishing, but I think that could just be a reflection of light as the camera moves. It does seem to move in pace with the camera's movement, but the first one doesn't. That's for sure a legit apparition peering out at us. Two friends are down in the basement when suddenly a third friend wants to join in. The only problem is, this playmate is not even human.
Hi, it's Huh? Hi, it's Barbie. What the heck?
An old toy suddenly starts saying hello to them over and over. As soon as they get near, not only did it somehow turn on all by itself, but this is also apparently the first time it has ever been thought of in years. The batteries for this abandoned toy should have been drained long ago. The description for this video says that they have been regularly hearing loud banging noises in the basement, which is probably why they came downstairs in the first place. It's also extremely unnerving that, out of all of the possible sound effects, it chooses to keep saying hi over and over. Individual sees strange sightings in the sky. Creepy stuff hidden in front of our eyes, as she puts it. It would be easy to dismiss her notions as outlandish, except for one thing. She can back up her claims. You see, Sheila has caught weird things on camera. She zooms into the trees to find a creepy pale face with round black eyes staring back at her from the treetops. This could be a balloon or something else stuck in the tree, but it's far from the only bizarre thing she's caught on camera near her house. A short time later, she finds this odd light not too far from where she saw the face. Two other lights are spotted in the sky in an odd formation that soon blinks away. Together they do seem to, once connected, possibly form the outer perimeter of a much larger disc-like object. What are these strange silent objects that glow and grow? The unexplained lights do not look like a helicopter and have no trail of a spotlight, so what could they be? Something is haunting the lobby of England's Brighton Museum, according to those who work there. This creepy moment, caught on CCTV video at 3 a.m., could be the paranormal proof they need to be taken seriously. The camera captures a bright light and then a souvenir mysteriously falls to the ground with no one near. Kind of like a ghost moved the object, employees would later say. I think the quote-unquote mysterious light could be a glass object reflecting light as it falls over. Maybe the shelf is a little unlevel. Maybe an employee or a visitor put it too close to the edge. I am 50-50 on this one. one, and we'll be sure to keep an eye out for other paranormal events caught on camera at this possibly haunted museum. The CCTV footage comes from Manchester, England, where a supposed poltergeist temporarily turned an insurance office into its stomping grounds. The surveillance footage looks fairly normal for the first minute or so, but then things start to get strange shortly thereafter. After tossing around some chairs, the office ghost becomes much more violent and aggressive. Now the ghost flings open filing cabinets and slams doors while jiggling the doorknob to one room in particular with an angry intensity. What's inside that room is anyone's guess, but it's clear that the ghost is paying special attention to that area. It desperately wants to get in. Finally, the door to that mysterious room opens and closes, and the office settles back into an eerie silence. The ghost seems to be satisfied for now after gaining entry, and it seems to have stopped throwing a paranormal tantrum, at least for the time being. It's hard for me to tell if this video is actually real or if it is a hoax. I can probably go either way on this one. Based on the comments for this video, the internet seems to largely agree. Bill Ryan is the leader of Project Camelot, an underground organization tirelessly attempting to uncover secrets on everything, from alien life forms to time control. Since Project Camelot encourages members of top-secret government organizations to blow the whistle on the most sensitive of state secrets, you can only imagine how many people want Bill Ryan gone. That's what makes this interview so creepy. While Bill Ryan calmly explains the inner workings of Project Camelot, a shadowy figure silently leans into the camera shot multiple times.
That you can get kind of caught up in these questions forever and a day and never come out of that.
Some people believe that this is a shadow messenger warning others not to come forward with their secrets. Other people think that this is a sign of constant surveillance on Bill Ryan because of what he knows. I personally think it just might be the reflection of a cameraman's arm, but let me know what you think is going on with this strange background figure. The audio of this dashcam video will haunt you. At around noon in October 2014, in Indianapolis, Indiana, a woman was sitting in her car outside an office building with a dash cam recording in process. In the video, a person can be seen walking past her vehicle wearing a strange mask, while the footage only shows one individual. According to the woman, there were 5 of them total out of sight. You can hear the woman laughing as she asks the group where they got their masks. But soon she learns that this isn't a joke as they smash out her windows and rob her. The woman was pulled out of her vehicle by her hair and thrown on the ground by a woman in a face mask and camo jacket. The attacker then took the woman's cell phone and purse. It seems this wasn't the group's first attack of the day. They were also charged with breaking the window of a moving car. Looks like we're not even safe sitting in a parking lot. Are children still at play in this haunted orphanage? Extinct File explores this abandoned place, and it looks like someone is watching them. First, they hear the sound of children, which sends one of them running. Their EMF meter captures some energy near the stairs.
Mira, 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 mira.
Soon after, their radios go off.
también.
Later, another reading puts them on edge.
Aquí.
And while listening into the radio, they hear someone breathing.
No mames. ¿Qué pedo?
And then a voice. But it is this shocking evidence at the end that proves this place is truly haunted. Did you see that? Along with a strange groan, look at the doorway below. A shadow figure is watching. Who is this mysterious shadow? I think it's the spirit of a former orphan of this asylum. This creepy encounter was posted to Reddit by Ghosty Phase. A Ring doorbell camera captured a young woman's stalker. The woman says she was followed home from Walmart and her stalker showed up on her doorstep. At first, the man appears to be looking for his own keys, but then he fails to find any and peers around the corner of the house. Many are wondering if the creep left something for his victim. Although we can agree that this is beyond creepy and edging into full-on horror, I do think this footage reminds us not to trust anyone. You never know when you could cross paths with someone like this.
And it was just such a chilling investigation. I am so excited to share it with you.
Haley Reese is walking through the woods when she and her friends stumble upon an old historic building known as the Griffin House. The woods around this area are supposedly quite haunted, and so they decide to conduct an impromptu paranormal investigation. It isn't long before something spooky happens.
I'm walking around to see if there's anything that you guys cap.
Hey! Somebody just moved the windows! Somebody just opened the blinds! I'm not fucking kidding you! Somebody over there opened the blinds. Blinds are moving.
Haley's friends claim to see curtains moving with no one inside, and when Haley approaches the Griffin House at 10 minutes and 16 seconds, you can see the curtains just barely part in the middle. Determined to get better evidence of the paranormal, Haley focuses her camera squarely on the window. She's expecting to catch a ghost on video at any minute, but nothing happens for a while. Then all of a sudden...
Move the blind more. Whoa.
As Haley later explains, the building has been closed to the public for months, so no one was inside. However, it could have been a draft in the house causing the curtains to move. There does appear to be a strong breeze blowing through the trees when they see it happen. A YouTuber named DK goes ghost hunting at 3 a.m. using a mirror in his home that's apparently haunted. He sets up a camera and waits until 3 a.m. Sure enough, the video glitches out and shows what appears to be someone's hand. Also, look in the mirror itself and you'll see a face looking to the left with its eyes closed. Let me know if you see it, and if so, what you make of this haunted mirror. Lives near an airport with flight restrictions and heard that something weird and possibly bad happens to anyone who tries to fly a drone in. He isn't sure if it's true or not, so he decides to go right up to the no flight zone marker on his GPS and powers on his drone. The only thing left to do now is violate federal aviation regulations and see what happens. I was half expecting Homeland Security to come out in a van, or maybe even for his drone to randomly stop working, but instead, in his words,
just goes kind of sideways.
He presses forward, but the drone refuses to budge. Something is holding it back without damaging it, and I want to know how. Is this a low-level electromagnetic frequency jammer device? If not, how do you think it's being done? I'm glad he didn't get in trouble, because it's probably not a good idea to post a video potentially violating any laws, or maybe this is legal to begin with. Tell me if you think it is or not. A drone over the water sees a boat and randomly decides to follow it to see what happens. He awkwardly follows them for over 2 minutes while they point at him and seem pretty confused as to why they're being followed. There's nothing for them to do except wait for him to stop recording them and go find something else to do. I guess it's not really against the law because there's no expectation of privacy in public, but it's still kind of a weird thing to do considering people are in their bathing suits and did not agree to do this. It's also somewhat of a boating hazard too, because the person steering has to be distracted. Let me know what you think about this video, and if you think he's violating any laws. If not, should the laws be stricter to prevent this kind of recording? I guess they're all fully aware the drone is there, but I could also see why people would be stressed out if it happened to them. A man claims to have been followed for over a year by strange drones.
Today's August 8th, Friday, August 8th, 2019. It's been hovering there, it's just there.
Ordinarily, I'd have trouble believing such a claim, but he has had lots of weird evidence that makes me wonder what's really going on. This is what they look like to the human eye. 3 different lights that look mysterious. This still image captures all 3 of them at once. The first 2 look the same size, but the third one looks smaller, farther away. If you've ever seen lights like this around your house, tell me what you think they are. The way they change colors is disorienting and odd. I thought maybe this was special effects, but at 1 minute he shows this is completely normal video. The lights look similar in each video, like a fingerprint every time he zooms in. And there are way too many videos like this one on his channel for him to fake. So what do you think is going on here? Is he being watched? Or is this all somehow in his mind?
But yeah, this is earlier today, and I'll go to another video where it's darker.
Mike Maps returns to Clinton Road, determined to catch something scary on drone at night. He and his friend are less worried about clowns and more interested in seeing if a phantom truck really does disappear at the end of Clinton Road. Like the legends say, it isn't long until a truck, phantom or not, passes by them and they try to follow it from above. Everything is going well until suddenly they lose sight of the truck, almost like it disappears, and the drone remains frozen in midair where the truck was last seen.
Here, use your phone. Yeah. Show my hand. Look, this is full throttle forward, and then show the drone. Watch. I'm full throttle. Look. Show my hand.
Bro, stop moving. Stop.
Look, it's going back. Look, it's going back.
It's going backwards. Oh my God.
It suddenly takes off on its own, and they find it stuck in a tree. But here's the weirdest part. While it's up there, it starts flashing red for no reason, much like the brake lights of a truck. What do you think about this? Is this proof that the legends are true?
And it's blinking red too.
A drone user takes matters into his own hands to break up a noisy party late at night with some Roman candles by the looks of it. The partygoers all scatter and flee as the drone launches low-powered Roman candles directly at them and their cars. Roman candles don't really do a lot of damage on impact, but what happens if someone took one to the eye, which has a pretty good chance of happening considering everyone is looking straight up. There's also a power line nearby that gets hit at 18 seconds, fortunately the pole and not any of the wires, before the next one goes straight into a tree, so this probably really wasn't a good idea.
Christian Garcia and a couple of his friends are riding around on a motorcycle late at night through the streets of Mexico and are enjoying their night when suddenly they come across something absolutely terrifying and startling on the road. Right here. This seems to just be a really sort of like isolated road in the middle of nowhere. It's clearly nighttime, and this individual is just sitting out here, staring off into the distance. I wish they would have asked if they needed help. Instead, just sort of take off. But I guess they do decide they should turn around, which is the right thing to do, so respect to these guys.
Hola, señora. ¿Qué dice? ¿Eh? ¿Quién es? ¿Qué le pasa? ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama? Está en medio de la nada, ¿no? ¿Le pasa algo?
If anybody who speaks Spanish could please translate what was said in this conversation, but I assume they were asking if they were all right, to which they get no response from the stranger, and I think eventually just decide, yes, to just take off.
¿Le pasa algo?
Even when Christian and his friends drive back to where the mysterious stranger is sitting down on the side of the road, it doesn't really seem as though they are trying to talk to her too much, and I guess it makes sense because she is a complete stranger, and you never know exactly what a stranger is capable of. I just hope this person is okay and isn't suffering from any problems, but if they are, I hope they will be okay in due time.
This dashcam video was taken in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and it shows a tiny bipedal creature scurry across the road, not even as tall as the concrete barrier on the right. It looks pretty good until you look down at the feet and notice that it's gliding across the road and not taking real steps. So in my opinion, I think it might be computer animation. What do you think? Rob of Terre the Veal goes ghost hunting in one of the most haunted locations in all of Yorkshire, and spirits reach out to communicate as soon as they enter. And so they set up a K2 meter to measure the amount of paranormal energy in the air. As the numbers rise, so does the feeling that something is near.
Go on, keep going. Go on.
Whoa. It isn't long before they form a method of communication and begin to get eager responses from something supernatural. This scary moment stands out to me the most.
Is there a portal here? Is that how you can cross over?
Well done, you're doing really well.
Next, they set up a spirit box to hear its true voice, and sure enough, across the airwaves comes a message that they think says thanks for coming, but I hear the day is coming. Which is it?
It is coming.
Nothing else is said, and stillness hangs in the air. It feels like something is looming over them, and the camera goes out of focus like it catches movement. The portal's power seems to grow, and so they leave. Sometime later, Rob returns to explore the same spot at night. It seems whatever they talked to before has come back and knows the routine.
Right, to catch you guys up a little bit, there was another paranormal. He does not want me to talk, does he?
In Rob's other hand is a flashlight, which wouldn't set off the K2 meter, and so I think this interaction is paranormal and real. The ghost keeps interrupting him like it has something to say. Finally, it can wait no longer and lets loose a small screen that barely transcends the boundaries between our world and its own.
Can you set the device off and let me know that you're here? What was that?
What was what?
There was like a crack or a footstep or something behind you. Did you not hear it?
I didn't hear anything.
The EVP is caught on camera and sounds like the ghost of a little British girl replying with these two words, I can.
Can you set the device off and let me know that you're here?
What's scariest to me is how they hardly hear anything. The ghost is wailing as loud as it can, and yet only a mere fraction of its anguish comes through.
Did you not hear it?
I didn't hear anything.
A British YouTuber named Joe Weller learns from his friend Elliot of a haunted schoolhouse nearby that was built in the 1800s. They agree to go in the middle of the night to make it all the more legitimate and scary. This place is abandoned, and yet there's a black gap where the curtain's been particularly drawn back, just enough for someone to peek through, or maybe this is a shadow person leaning out. Joe wants to turn around before the sight of barbed wire, but Elliot convinces him to jump over and go inside. Someone must have really wanted to keep people out of here, or maybe it's to keep something contained within. They walk around the back way and ivy is creeping along the walls, so nobody lives here. But wait, someone's at the window, a pale ghost girl. While over a dozen people see her, can you? And when he shines his light on it, it's gone. This dashcam video was supposedly taken near Hanoi, Vietnam, and was posted on Facebook where it spread to the local news. In it, the car soon pulls up to a figure dressed in all white standing in the middle of the road. The drivers are quite concerned that this individual is standing in the middle of a pitch black road, alone besides one street light above. They don't ask the person anything. Instead, they quickly drive away. While many online thought it was a ghost of some kind, news agencies have said that this was a woman who is not mentally well and was possibly attempting to take her own life. Let's hope she got the help she needed before it was too late. YouTuber Ali H lives in a house haunted by ghosts. He and his partner plan to move, but will the ghosts let them?
I was standing here. That was on there. Like it was up in the cupboard there. Flew off the cupboards, opened up, and the box broke, and look who's in the box.
Maybe she doesn't want him to remodel the place. As he's picking up the dolls, he finds this obscure note.
What the? I'm gonna put these away right now. I don't have time to indulge them in whatever I'm trying to.
I want to know more about the note. I'm sure it's full of clues. As Ali tries to give a tour of his newly remodeled upstairs, the ghosts let him know a coat of fresh paint isn't going to solve this phantom infestation.
My old office, they've turned into a child's room for the showing, and I have with it. I really like it. Okay, are you serious?
After the knocking quiets down, Ali continues, but then so does the knocking.
The room, and then my futon takes up half the. Who is it?
Ali questions the ghosts, but they only taunt him.
Why do you keep knocking? Are you mad at us? Does that mean yes?
After clarifying that 1 knock means yes and 2 means no, Ali gets a few more answers.
Are you mad at us?
He finally gets to the bottom of why the ghosts are angry with them.
Are you mad at us for moving?
And they really don't want these guys to leave.
Oh, I was down here. What happened?
I don't know. I just walked in the kitchen. It was like this. I didn't.
What the?
It seems to me like these ghosts will stop at nothing to make their point.
My.
Okay, I'll clean it in the morning. Just leave it.
Can you get Luna?
And Ali and co better be hyper aware of their surroundings before their move out date. This bizarre and giant sea creature was recorded by someone casually sipping their morning coffee in the English village of Tynemouth. It looks like it has the head of a dolphin until it dives underwater and shows an eel-like body. One thing I don't understand is why he quickly zooms out when the creature surfaces at exactly 1 minute. It could have been an accident, or it could have been to hide from us the fact that this is a rubber mat, like one person says in the comments. I'm no expert, but that does look more like a creature than a mat to me. What do you see? This is a witch's abode, and even in the afterlife she has not left. Dennis from YouTube channel Dark Life is paying the haunted house a visit in this scary video. While taking some photographs in this room, he sees something in the mirror that gives him pause. He explains what he saw.
Это мне реально сейчас не показалось. В зеркале, в том проходе кто-то стоял. Вот там.
This is what he actually captured on camera. While it does appear to be the profile of a person, it could also simply be shadows falling in a perturbing manner. But later, this happens.
Как так, я не понимаю. В зеркале она была. В проеме в этом.
What do you see here? Again, I feel like this could just be pareidolia. The way the light and shadows fall is conjuring up images that aren't really there. Or are they?
В зеркале она была.
It does look like a shadow is reaching out to touch Dennis at this point. Renato Garcia claims to have had a paranormal encounter while exploring the house of a witch in Brazil. He finds all these empty bottles carefully arranged in a circle in the middle of the room, possibly for a spell, and then the far door opens all by itself. That's when some really bizarre things are caught on camera, things that are weird but possibly not real.
Victor! Side.
So the door slams shut by itself, which is creepy, but then he says that the bottles fall over by themselves. However, when you play this part in slow motion, you can clearly see his foot kicking them at 1 minute and 21 seconds. It's hard to see because it's dark, but when you look in slow motion, you can definitely see his shoe. With over 4 million views and nearly 80,000 likes at the time of this video, I just had to give my honest analysis and say I have my doubts about this one. If he really is faking this part, then I have trouble believing the rest of this abandoned house exploration is real. This video was recorded more than 5 years ago. It shows the pointer moving around the Ouija board on its own at first, but then it somehow levitates and begins flying away. There's a good chance that this is CGI, at least that's the only explanation that I can think of besides actual spirits. Things are getting out of hand with this Pyro Poltergeist, published by Memoria Sobrenatural Inc. in December of 2021. The spirits first make their presence known in this haunted place via EMF meter. The crew tries to communicate with the spirits and the window shutter slowly opens, perhaps to distract from the fire being set behind them. When they leave the building, they see a dark figure cross a doorway in the firelight. Later, they're back inside and they hear clinking.
Cara, que sentimento horrível, pessoal.
And then a loud bang. The flame they lit earlier goes out suddenly. Then, as they attempt to detect a presence using the EMF meter, the spirits send them up in flames. Do you think this team finally got the message? This poltergeist couldn't be any clearer. He wants them gone. I don't think I'd ever go back to that place. Everything Paranormal Show gets in on the scary Randonautica video craze and goes randonauting with paranormal creepy stuff in mind.
Now, just to let you know, my intent was paranormal creepy.
The TikTok app takes him to a random address, and he waits for some creepy stuff to begin, which it most certainly does.
We've got, like I said, this dude's checking me out. I wanted something creepy. Yeah, this dude's just standing here, freaking staring at me.
Before he knows it, somebody is standing near his car. They're not moving, just staring him down. To be fair, what to him is a creepy man could just be someone wandering who is in their parking space. But even when he leaves, the man is standing completely still, simultaneously staring at nothing in particular and everything all at once.
This scary video captured an inhuman humanoid figure lurking over a human habitat, and it has been trending in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. Taken in someone's backyard, you first see a pool with trees beyond. It looks as though the cameraman is searching for something in the foliage. He then turns to the roof of the home. The roof at first seems to be empty, but when the cameraman turns completely to the right, this terrifying figure is spotted. Its fleshy skin is a raw sunburnt pink, its limbs are somewhat elongated, its shoulders are hunchbacked, and its pinhead is on a neck that's uncannily long. The creepiest part of it is that the figure is looking right at him. It stays still for a second, its eyes glowing as it watches the unsuspecting cameraman, before leaping with cat-like reflexes over the other side of the roof and out of sight. If this footage is real, then I have no idea what this thing possibly was.
This home surveillance footage has been circulating around the internet, but I'm trying to figure out if it's fake or did this woman have her home surveillance hacked? After all, there have been many cases of that happening over the last couple years. If that's the case, it's super scary to think this woman is being watched by an unknown person without her knowledge, and without any context. You would never know that scenario is a real possibility. What do you think? Is this real or fake?
A man in Russia goes exploring a field by the side of the road with a metal detector and detects a ghost instead.
Привидіння. І ще так світиться іменно як фосфор, таким зеленим, таким класно, яскраво. Якийсь привид.
Off in the distance is what he suspects could be the apparition of a roadside phantom. It's pretty bizarre, but this image taken at 7 minutes and 11 seconds looks more like a roadside marker than anything paranormal. The only problem is I have no idea what the road signs look like in Russia. So tell me if this is one of them or not, then we'll all know if this video is paranormal. There's nothing else like it on this whole stretch of road, and he's never seen it before. So maybe he's making it up, or maybe it's something weird after all. When you're arguing whether a shirt is red or maroon, the ghosts in your presence will know they've had enough of you two. Published to YouTube in May of 2020, this is what happens when a ghost gets fed up with your bickering, throws up his hands and storms out of the house he's haunting. The uploader explains that during their last visit to this place, they experienced the door slamming but didn't have a chance to record it, so this time they returned to capture it on film. This video is cut down to 3 minutes of the 50 that were recorded. The clip shows the boys arguing whether or not one of their shirts is red before deciding to call it quits with the filming, since it had been nearly an hour. Just then, something clearly slams in the distance. The uploader says his friend thought it was the hinges of the door rather than a ghost, but decides that the video is proof it wasn't the hinges. He also claims that he and a friend saw a shadow person in this building as well. The uploader writes, something said that it could have been air in the last upload, but it wasn't sure. The thing, if it was air, it would have opened it. The air is coming from outside, so it would push out to open. Instead, what we caught was a ghost slamming the door the opposite direction of where the air was coming from, so the force of the door slamming was going against the air.
This was filmed in Harlingen, Texas, and there wasn't much airflow in the place according to the uploader. The group was sweating from so much stale heat. Well, maybe the ghost was too. Is Lainey and Ben's poltergeist getting stronger? Watch this video and judge for yourself. As usual, the poltergeist seems to be most active in the kitchen.
Activity more and more aggressive.
He has even resorted to ruining their dinner.
Poltergeists just seem to be so frustrated.
Oh, bless them. Oh, bless them.
And he isn't finished. It goes without saying that Lainey and Ben share space with one of the most active poltergeists on YouTube. I don't know if Dave and Andy are becoming more aggressive due to anger, or if their YouTube following is cheering them on. Something is haunting this house, or at least that's what David Stenberg thinks based on his dog's Astrid's odd reaction. Sometimes he's fine with going into this bedroom, and sometimes he acts more like this.
What is the fucking matter? What is the deal?
Listen again. There's a really shrill scream that makes the dog recoil. I'm already convinced this could be a ghost, but this video is 100% real in my opinion, based on what I'm about to show you next. I don't care how well you train your dog, there's no way to make him look up at you with a concerned expression and then get surprised. David tries to show Astrid that nothing is there by stepping inside, but Astrid is having none of it. I think his dog is telling him, in no uncertain terms, to get out of there now. Let me know if you agree.
Astrid, you're freaking me out. Come here. Come here.
Many claim to see a hidden monster in this YouTube video from Australia. Look closely and you'll see what appears to be the top half of a tall furry creature standing among the trees. Some people even claim to see a second similar creature in the bottom right-hand corner. Well, I do see what they are talking about. This also looks like it could just be the blackened center of a rotten tree, but I'm just not sure. Let me know what you think this is, and if you believe there is any possibility of this being the legendary Australian Bigfoot. A YouTuber named G, the one and only, starts off this video immediately looking creeped out and a little bit panicked about something, but we are not yet let in on whatever his current situation is. Presumably a friend of his starts to film him as he proceeds to walk into a room which is absolutely filled with bionicle toys, which is surely any young kid's dream, but maybe this set of bionicle toys are not meant to be played with.
There's nothing up here.
They are claiming that a bionicle's head moves on its own. Let's slow this footage down and see if we can see it. See, it's the tallest bionicle figure. Oh, I see it now. I think it's this one right up here. Although it only happens for just a brief second, if you slow down the footage and zoom in, you can see that the tallest bionicle figure standing up actually appears to move its head slightly all by itself. Of course, it is entirely possible that this particular figure is battery powered and has a built-in feature which allows for its head to move around, but that seems like reaching for answers. Plus the uploader who owns the toy is creeped out by this, so it can't be battery powered. He says that he doesn't believe in ghosts, but is having a hard time dismissing this clip. Let this video be a warning that not even your own childhood toys are safe from being taken over by the spirit of ghosts. Filipino YouTuber TABIAPO has captured a real sigbin on camera in Barangay Sangco. After finding evidence of the creature, they come to the edge of this tall grass.
And guys, tinawag na natin yung mga elemento. Tignan natin kung lalabas ngayong hapon.
That's when they see this.
Ito na yung sinasabing sigbin, guys. Nakita nyo? Ayan, oh. Ayan, naglalakad yung sigbin, oh. Klaro-klaro, oh.
The creature has black fur. You can't even discern shades of color. He looks like a shadow himself.
Sigbin talaga, oh. Ito yung sinasabi ni Manang Flor kanina. Yung malaki yung tinga, tapos pula yung mata. Napakaitim na nilalang. Ayan yung creature na sinasabi ko. Ayan, oh. Oh?
Then it starts coming toward them.
Parang pupunta dito. Mga katabs, oh. Oh? Parang pupunta siya dito. Alis to, ah. O yan, dyan ka lang. O mga katabs, tingnan nyo, ha. Aagisan ko ng dapag na may orasyon.
Apparently these leaves are protection. What do you think of the sigbin? To me, it looks a bit like a monkey with large bat-like ears. Its complete darkness also instills paranormal fear of the unknown. All I know is, I don't want that thing feeding on my shadow. John Cater carefully combs through his home looking for the source of what he can only describe as a creepy noise. 1 second, the room will be completely silent.
Like it.
And the next minute, it sounds like some kind of grinding noise that could drive somebody insane over time.
Oh my god.
It isn't insects either, because listen to how quickly it goes away.
Oh my god.
John eventually traces the noise back to a dark room that he has never really paid any particular attention to before, and apparently something in there wants to keep it that way. It looks like an invisible force slams the door shut from the other side, and we never do get to see what was down there with him, if anything. This Russian dashcam video starts with a car full of friends gawking at a figure dressed in all black, who looks very out of place standing all alone in the quiet city streets so late at night. Something feels off about this stranger, so they decide to double back and take a second look out of curiosity. This time they get a much better view at the shadowy apparition and they all yell in surprise. The cloaked figure has stepped into the street and now faces them, almost as if expecting their return. The camera's quality is admittedly not very good, but I can't make out a single discerning feature of this person's face, which makes me wonder if they even have one to begin with. It's almost as if they were a shadow person. Then again, these friends kind of sound like they were possibly making a big deal out of nothing. With that said, something about the figure's silent, menacing posture and the way it stands in place makes me think this could be a spirit after all. This next video shows that even a zipline is in perfect condition. With flawless equipment is never truly safe. Sometimes things just go wrong. A giant gator pops up to try and snag this instructor out of the air. There is a decent amount of space between the two, but I'm sure it was plenty close enough if you asked her. And she definitely knows what waits for her should she ever make a future mistake and fall in. So I guess the final and most important lesson of ziplining over water is to always keep your legs up, because you never know what's lurking below the surface waiting to take a chomp. This oddly colored sea creature in Pfeiffer Beach, California looks like a rock until you flip it over to reveal a soft underbelly. According to the uploader, this creature started to change shape to better fit into their hand. My best guess is some type of sea sponge, but I really don't think that's it. And a park ranger didn't know what it was either, but maybe you will. A YouTuber named Bros Got Game is convinced that his local graveyard is haunted, but the only way to find out is to grab a friend and record there at 3 a.m. They haven't even entered the main courtyard before they hear something approach.
But if you guys see anything that... What was that?
Smoke follows them throughout their exploration, even though there are no flames at any point in the video. After following a dirt path for a while, they come across a broken rope suspended from a gnarled old tree. It's pretty obvious to me that it must have snapped under someone's weight, though where they are is not clear. A short while later, one of them thinks they feel something grab their arm and quickly hurry out. Certainly a smart choice. Posted by Footage Finder 57 to the Found Footage subreddit. You'll probably rethink your next camping trip after watching this piece of found footage. A group of people are hanging out around a campfire watching videos on a big screen and chatting. One of them notes that their friend Alexis went to the bathroom and has been gone for a very long time. They decide to investigate. As they're walking through the forest, a scream pierces the night. They start running towards it, shouting out her name. In the middle of the forest, they come across a strange teepee made of logs. When they peer inside, there's a person tied to a tree stump. And then, whatever four-armed or legged creature has captured Alexis comes after them too. The group screams, the camera is dropped, and no more is heard. Redditor Tribal Transfusion 311 pulled a still shot of the creature. This is what we're dealing with. Although the origins of the video are unknown, this found footage is certainly one of the best quality if faked, and one of the most terrifying if not. Police in Michigan need to find a woman who has fallen from a dock through the ice before it's too late. The officer comes across two fishermen holding on to a poor woman who fears for her life. If they let go, she's going under. There's little time left. She's freezing. Hypothermia is the name for a dangerous drop in body temperature. From prolonged exposure to cold, you can lose your life from it in as little as 5 minutes.
You got a hold of her?
Signs of hypothermia include red skin, fatigue,
Losing her strength.
and numbness.
Take a hand. Take the other one.
Completely numb.
So it's not looking good for her. Her core body temperature is lowering. Her organs are slowly turning off to preserve heat and protect the brain. They have one last chance to save her.
It's too hard. I can't. Come on. All right, stay right here. Stay right here.
I'm stuck.
Grab a hold. 1, 2, 3. Up.
The police take over and get the job done in moments. One of the fishermen, an older gentleman, is absolutely exhausted and unable to stand by the time it's through. He and his friend are absolute heroes for not letting go until the police arrived, which actually took 15 minutes but to them felt like 5. The woman later said she was starting to lose consciousness, a sure sign that she couldn't have withstanded much longer in that cold water. Hopefully we can all learn from the scariest moments of her life and always be careful when fishing on the dock. Had other people not been around to help, she would have been lost beneath the ice. An Urbex YouTuber called RNK All Day is exploring a creepy building that used to be a funeral home before it was abandoned. The funeral home is not haunted per se, at least not from what I can tell, but what they find is every bit as scary as any ghost video you'll ever watch. You see, a long time ago, this North Carolina establishment was shut down because of improper business operations. People were not notified about their loved ones in a timely fashion, and the remains were often not stored properly at all. As RNK All Day explores the abandoned building, he finds evidence of their misdeeds laying out in the open. Sitting in a battered cupboard box on an old altar is a discarded plastic bag full of what appears to be ashes. There's no way to tell if these are the ashes of someone until you look at the box. That definitely says cremation services. If this is what we think it is, which I think it almost definitely is, then they should be properly placed in an urn, not out in the open like this. And if there are more items like this lying around, then maybe this building is haunted after all. A ghost hunter named Solo Ambush goes exploring an abandoned morgue in the woods full of creepy things. The place has been deserted for years, but the smell of bodies has buried itself into the morgue walls. This table surface must be where they were prepared for burial. On it, he finds a needle to sew whatever shut. He puts it in his pocket, which possibly upsets the spirits because that's when the paranormal activity begins. He puts an object on the table and invites any spirits nearby to make it move.
Ada lagi. Dia sudah mula bunyi.
A defiant spirit moves things behind him instead. When he goes to investigate the noise, he finds nothing, and then he gets an idea.
Okay, let's switch off the light.
A figure in red silently passes across the floor of the haunted, abandoned mortuary with its head down. He runs after it and finds only the stench of decay is left in its wake, nothing else.
Bau busuk lagi.
He says this ghost sighting could be a reflection of light, but he is standing in a dark hallway with the lights off, so I'm not sure I agree with that one. Like many of the previously haunted places he's gone exploring in the past, what he's caught on tape in this building is most likely paranormal and terrifying. And as he leaves, something slams the door closed behind him. The ghost hunter is no longer welcome to go exploring this haunted place. Not that he ever was to begin with. Something giant is swimming fast across Lake Okanagan, Canada, never breaking the surface for a clear look except for this part at 40 seconds when a fin flaps by. There's not a boat in front of it, so it's not getting towed. It's not a school of fish because I've never seen fish move in a perfectly straight line. It does appear to be one giant underwater creature. When Gulf of Mexico explorers ventured deep below the sea, they may not have been expecting to get creeped out from what they found down there. The EV Nautilus was able to capture footage of a ghost shark, also called a chimera, near Grenada in the Caribbean. Ghost sharks are rarely seen, as they're usually too deep, anywhere from 8,500 feet to around 650 feet. For marine communities to capture on film, and this particular ghost shark was even rarer, as it had an eerie smile and was riddled with parasites. To capture this amount of creepiness on video, underwater is quite a feat. A team member said, "He looks like he's smiling. It's like a Joker smile. Don't know about you, but I'd cringe to be on the receiving end of this smile." A Dutch YouTuber named Govert Sweep and his friends go well past their limits while exploring an old place in the forest that's scary enough to have them jumping at every noise, of which I'll admit there's way too many.
Absurd dat daar niet iemand boven. Wat was dat? Was jij dat?
I've heard of a house settling, but this sounds like the opposite. Like a spooky house is ramping up in a bad way. A haunted place where everything has gone wrong long ago.
Wat was dat dan? Dit was het nou toch? Dit was het nou toch? Dit was het nou toch?
I probably would have already been out of there, but they decide to keep seeing what there is to find, which is one of the shadiest entrances to any basement I've ever seen.
Oh, nee.
They go down there long enough to record only a few seconds of footage before getting out fast, and for good reason. Yes, something scary could be lurking among the rubble, but there are also structural concerns as well. The place looks ready to collapse on them, so they made the right decision because no scary ghost or creature video is worth taking that kind of risk. Things get scary on the open road. This is yet another case of a driver gone a little too ragey. The video is self-explanatory. The Mercedes driver gets out of his car, carrying a metal pole, but the driver is on his toes. Putting pedal to the metal, he speeds off-road and leaves the would-be assailant in the dust. In my opinion, it doesn't matter what little driving infraction happened in the lead-up to this scary incident, no one should spring from their vehicle with a metal pole with the intent of getting revenge. A YouTuber named The Real JP is renovating an old cellar when he notices something weird on the wall. A big bat flies straight at my face, he later writes. This large pipe is the only thing that keeps the bat from getting on him when it leaps from the wall.
I do not know where he went.
Hopefully it went out the cellar door. The UK explorer reaches the top floor of an abandoned house and finds himself standing outside of an old break room kitchen. He takes a single step inside and is met with the sound of old material crumbling beneath his feet.
Just going into one of the rooms that we found in a house that belonged to the factory. Nice kitchen. I did in fact fall. Luckily I didn't go right through.
He falls up to his waist and puts his arms out at the last second to save himself, shutting off his camera in the process. A newly formed hole in the brittle floor shows a massive drop, ending in piles of sharp-edged debris. Even if he did survive the fall, no one was around to help 4 miles in all directions. Number 11. Don't accept help from just anyone. They might not be what you think. YouTuber Scaryfield shares this creepy video which is trending in the Hindi-speaking YouTube community. The video is actually from YouTube channel True Horror Stories POV, and this horror story occurred on a dark road at night. In the beginning, the woman starts having car trouble in a cursed place.
Matilah pula.
After pulling to the side of the road, a random stranger stops to help her.
Oh, cik. Kereta saya daripada tadi tak tahu asal tak boleh start. Dia termati-mati daripada tadi saya jalan tadi. Tak tahu apa pasal. Boleh cik tolong?
The guy checks out a few things, but each time the woman attempts to start her car, it's still having trouble.
Tak ada. Tak boleh. Tak tahulah asal.
The man then tells her that it's not a mechanical problem.
Tapi tadi kereta saya betul-betul mati. Bukan.
Benda ikut ni.
Benda ikut? Benda apa cik?
Cuba tengok dalam kereta sekarang.
Dalam kereta?
But rather that something attached itself to her on the cursed route she took, and maybe he was right.
Cik!
While this is just a reenactment, these incidents are said to be based on true events. Well, if this happened to me in real life, I can't imagine I'd live to tell the tale. A YouTube channel called Abandoned Exploring has been putting out exploration videos of haunted places since 2015. Then one year they mysteriously stopped. This is the last video on their channel. March 17th, 2019 is when Mike and Hudson Flo of Abandoned Exploring go to a collection of abandoned buildings in the woods at night to see if there's anything scary. Steelworkers used to live here because there is an old haunted mill nearby. No one is supposed to go in, but people have spray painted the walls and disrespected the place, probably stirring up a ghost or two in the process. A stuffed dog is on the ground and it looks like somebody got snatched out of their shoe.
Yo, I thought that was fake. It's a fake dog, but that scared out of me.
Yo, that looks real.
Oh my god.
What's up with all these shoes?
In the back, they find ropes that are too low to have been used on an adult.
Oh, chill. Look at these ropes. I hope those aren't nooses.
Weird lights follow them as they wander back into the forest. They look like fireflies, but March is not the right time of year for them.
Damn, I'm trying to clear my throat, guys. My bad. Yeah, no. There's a little drop. Damn, this thing looks kind of big, bro.
Notice how the last light is red. No towers are out here. Nothing out here has any power. A minute later, they find a second building surrounded by decaying trees as if nothing is able to grow here.
Gotta be a way in somewhere. Maybe in the front. Oh, look at this, bro.
This could be an uncovered grave, a secret entrance, or just a maintenance tunnel. They decide not to climb down and eventually find another way in. Inside is a floor lined with chemical vats. He climbs one of them and inside is a green liquid substance that looks highly toxic, especially after all these years. Another mysterious light shines down on them with no discernible source, and then they hear something I've never heard in any other ghost hunting video.
It's pretty big that way. It looks a little flooded back there, though. What the f***? It's like 10 o'clock. What would be making that noise?
A song meant for remembering those who have fallen fills the room.
It sounds like it's right over there.
When they go to see if anything's over there, their camera records a devilish EVP.
Oh, don't step right there, bro.
They split up to search 2 rooms. The spirit seems to be playing games with them.
There's a room in here. Go this way. Go this way. Go this way.
It's not Mike. Mike's in a different room. Something else was behind Hudson Flo's shoulder. Back outside is another entrance. The room it leads to gives Mike a bad feeling, so he hangs outside. When Hudson goes in, something stops him.
Hold on real quick. It's coming from that way, bro. It's coming from that way, I don't know.
Tell me if this is a ghost or the wind. Here it is again.
It's coming.
And as they hold still, they spot something else watching them.
What the is that, bro? You wanna walk over there? You wanna walk over there?
We've been seeing lights this whole time, but here's when they first notice.
Oh my, bro, I see 2 eyes, bro. Bro, I see 2 eyes. Come here, come here, come here, come here. Come here, look right there, look right there. Yeah, you see those 2 eyes?
They run back to their car and can still see and hear whatever's following them.
Sit in the car, maybe they'll surround us. Yeah, hear them.
Oh, they're right there.
Open this.
I've never been in that much fear.
After a minute, they realize they are still being followed.
There they are. See the eyes? Yeah. Look at those eyes. You guys can can see those eyes in the woods right there.
It's been over a year with no new uploads and people are starting to wonder. A YouTuber named Justin Brown has been seeing odd-looking people living in tents near his hometown in Lompoc, California. He is too nervous to investigate the situation in person, so he sends his drone over for a closer look. Imagine Justin's surprise when he discovers an entire colony of strangers living on a riverbed less than a mile from his home. He has no idea who they are, what they want, or why they are so close to a suburban neighborhood, which doesn't seem particularly special in any way. Also, no one can seem to figure out what this mysterious blinking blue light is. Take a look at the way it keeps flashing persistently and tell me what kind of technology you think it could be. Maybe together we can figure out who lives here and their purpose. This video of a Mississippi swamp creature is hard to see, but the payoff is worth it. Watch the circled area and tell me if you see movement or not.
Baby!
Now here's the same area zoomed in. You can see something is behind the tree, a creature whose oversized arms extend down to the swamp. It straightens its back as it sees the camera and looks to the camera. It's hard to say if this really is a swamp creature or just shadows cast from the leaves above. This is allegedly the swamp creature's face. If it was just a bit closer, we'd have enough detail to make a final decision. That looks like it could be the face of a creature or just some tree bark to me. Thomas Hayes has been hearing scary loud sounds lately. Strange scratching noises coming from inside of the wall, right next to where he sleeps at night. Anxiety mixes with fear as he dismantles the electric socket to investigate what's gone wrong behind the walls. And let me tell you, the source of the scary sounds is beyond creepy. He tries not to scream as he finds the wall is filled with an endless number of fried insects, roaches to be exact, and look, at 30 seconds he absent-mindedly flicks one off with his finger. That's not exactly the reaction I was expecting, and certainly not what I would have done, but I guess he was shocked at the time. Speaking of, I can't help but wonder how safe it is to prod around an electrical socket with a screwdriver in the first place. I know he probably turned the power off, but I feel like it could still hold a charge. Someone tell me in the comments. Published by Mindzoga in April of 2013, the uploader writes, while riding in huge forest, accidentally found a secret base. It is completely deserted in one of the spookiest places I have ever been. The uploader was biking across a dirt road through Lithuania when he came across this base. The video shows derelict buildings on either side of the road, having long been abandoned. It's hard to tell who or what the buildings once housed, but there's plenty of them. Soon the bikers entered a more wooded area, where he decides to go off-road with his bike. He comes across a triangular building built into the ground. There's also a deep hole in the concrete, and a concrete slab set to the side with something, possibly a pipe entering the hole. The biker approaches the dark triangular building. Inside there's only rubble and darkness. He strolls around the area and notes that one of the tree-like hidden underground ventilation chimneys lay on the ground. After driving a bit further, he comes across another of these triangular buildings. Upon closer inspection, the inside of the building is filled with small rooms. In the distance, he hears something that sounds like a bang, which adds to the creepy ambiance of these remains of a facility. He comes across yet another triangular building, where he notices a large ring on the ground, which he believes to be an underground silo cover. This place may have once been the headquarters of a Russian facility, but now it's nothing more than a ghost town of deserted buildings. Which do you think is more eerie? Former President Barack Obama once had a Secret Service agent protecting him who has since become the center of many eerie rumors and unsettling theories found online. This video shows the agent standing a few rows into a crowd during one of Obama's speeches. The agent is very broad, but his head and neck are far narrower and more angular than his wide shoulders or body. He also repeats the same set of odd movements over and over again. The agent behind him does not, but it's this far shot that has raised the most questions. The nose, jaw, and chin all appear to be the same length. The brow is set far back, and the eyes are way down by the neckline, while the crown of the head and the occipital bone are disproportionately enlarged. I think it's hard to say for sure in both videos because of the distance. If we get a third video that was closer and more detailed, then a more accurate determination could be made. However, I don't believe this mysterious agent was ever spotted again. If you're thinking of messing with Bloody Mary, think again. The Shadowhunters team learned this lesson the hard way. In this video, they investigate. After one of their devices is triggered in this haunted place, they mess with the spirits here.
Nossa, mano, olha lá.
They find the word Mary written on a mirror.
É o espelho, mano. Tentar filmar certinho aqui. Olha isso aqui, mano.
Then they do what you're told never to do.
Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary.
And she appears.
What is this? Ela.
And they face the consequences.
Nossa senhora, nossa, mano! Tira ele daqui! Tira! Tira ele daqui! Vem, Thor, vem! Vem!
With his friend injured, one of the crew appears to go seek revenge against the demon. But as he tries to, this happens. Do you believe in Bloody Mary? The Shadowhunters certainly do now. Somebody's watching you. Posted to Instagram by Henry Cavill. This clip is seemingly just a simple, albeit incredible instructional video in which Superman actor Henry Cavill puts together a gaming PC. But not everything is as it seems. As Henry pieces this monster together, sharing his expertise, the project turns into an all-day event and darkness falls outside. That's when you see this eerie face in the window. In the comments, memes like one points it out to Henry, writing, "There is a creepy face behind the window. What is that?" Well, Cavill has no answer. Miss Nightmare does, suggesting it might be a ghost or a lurker. Well, Danny Maiden thinks it's a Joker painting. What do you think it is? Just an altogether eerie reflection? Or is something or someone lurking on Henry? A YouTuber named Dan Baines is the keeper of Mr. Fritz, a ventriloquist dummy that was once used to entertain the troops during the 1940s. He's very old and has since fallen apart to the point where all that remains is his disembodied head. Mr. Fritz is believed to be possessed by the spirit of his creator, a man who lost his life in battle and refuses to rest in peace. Lately, Dan has been seeing and hearing things all around the antique, so he sets up a camera to record. It's 3:30 in the morning when the glass door pops open. I don't see a string. Do you? This happens again at around the same time the next night, except this time his eyes open. String or no string, watch this part and tell me how a wooden ventriloquist dummy can open its eyes with no one nearby. And if you zoom in for a closer look, you'll see two orbs race by shortly after the case opens. I'm not saying that this video is impossible to fake, but unless this is an electronic prop that is being controlled with a remote, then I don't see how it can be done. People go disappearing all of the time, but rarely are such strange events like this one caught on camera. A man in a library is calmly reading when he looks up and spontaneously vanishes. This looks like it has to be special effects, except this unexplained video also has an equally unexplained
unexplained background. Multiple comments agree that there was once a longer version of this video from years ago that was mysteriously taken offline. In this longer version, this man's face is supposedly uncensored. Whoever this is could have contacted the police over privacy concerns. If so, as fake as this video looks, a longer version without blurred faces could mean this video is real. Fausto Perez believes he has forged a spiritual connection with an extraterrestrial. He sets up a camera to demonstrate his capabilities and waits for a response.
Beings in the sky come to me, give me a sign, help me advance to a higher level of consciousness, let me see you.
Less than 10 minutes later, he and his team spot a foreign white square twisting in the wind. This is what he affectionately refers to as a flying carpet, as it's apparently just one of the many regular visitors he receives from the sky. Whatever this square-shaped object is, it has to be absolutely huge to be visible from this far away. Only one of the cameras manages to catch it. Overall, no one can say for sure if this is a real encounter or a mere coincidence. If Fausto is wrong about this extraterrestrial sighting, then I have no idea what it could actually be. Redditor Go Bartlett went apartment viewing, and what they spotted in the footage later gave them pause. Watch the walkthrough and see if you can spot it. Did you see it? Keep your eye on the far corner of the room, next to the window. It looks like a tentacle reaches out from the corner of the wall before disappearing a moment later. The Redditors in the comments had some thoughts. While the comments on this one are the usual mixed bag, I personally like to think something Stranger Things-esque is living in the walls here. I too would skip this one. A phantom drifts past, never to be seen or heard from again. Published by Tammy Jackson in December of 2019. This Ring camera footage captured something incredibly eerie in this person's yard. The footage shows a pale, full-bodied figure drifting across the yard. No features are discernible. It then appears to vanish. That's when the motion activated lights on the garage are triggered. They shine brightly, casting light all across the yard, but there's nothing there. A house light also appears to be triggered, but still nothing else appears in the yard. Do ghosts trigger motion sensors? If not a ghost, who is this? I guess we'll never know for sure. Is someone watching you while you sleep? Shared by YouTube channel blah blah, this scary video is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. Security camera footage captured this paranormal event on camera. Watch for the standing fan, but more terrifying is the sleeping woman's reaction. Fans can be automated and set to start at a certain time, so to me this is not necessarily a paranormal event, but then again, her response makes me second guess myself. I tracked this video down to the TikTok account at Jezebel TikTok, but I'm not sure if this is the original source. Judging by this woman's level of fear, I can't help but think that she saw or felt something else in the room, aside from a light breeze. What do you think is going on here? A reality show that can take a dark turn. Whale Wars follows the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society as they confront whaling fleets over environmental issues. The society is often faced off with a Japanese whaling fleet, year in and year out. By season 3, in the episode titled Sliced in Two, the two parties decide enough is enough, it's time to have it out. Up until this point, the battle has been confrontational, but not terrifying. The Sea Shepherd's arms of choice, paint, spud shooters, and noise disruptors. The whalers, strong and effective water cannons.
This time, however, the whalers go all in, heading straight into the Shepherd's small ship. The Addie Gill is then, as the episode is so aptly titled, sliced in two. The ship lies and shatters on the open sea. The crew can't contact anyone via radio. It's one of the scariest moments in reality TV history. Even worse, the whalers start to lower an inflatable boat into the sea, likely to capture the crew and take them on board. The open sea is scary enough. Imagine being surrounded out there on the waters by your worst enemy. Luckily, the Shepherds are able to save their crew in time. Everyone survives, and no one is captured. A happy ending to another scary event caught live. Surveillance cameras sometimes capture images you just can't handle. Posted by one Dante1 to the Sir Spook subreddit. You might want to stay inside at night after watching this clip. Dante explains that they put out trail cams because they lost their cat. While they were working out in their garage at night, they set off their motion detector and, a moment later, caught this on camera. The clip plainly shows the men working in the light of the garage. Night has fallen, and the rest of the scene is quite dark. That is, until a phantom spirit drifts into view. The vapor-like phantom has a human figure and flies in from the top right of the screen. In fact, it appears as though the figure strolls right into the frame. MuggleMad32 writes, "This is a really good capture of an apparition," while Explore with Sunny adds that it's pretty unexplainable. Is it truly unexplainable? If so, do you hold the key to the explanation? Unfortunately, this clip isn't longer, or we may have seen where this phantom is off to. Let's hope he didn't do anything to that poor cat. This couple is dedicated to, as their description states, the search of paranormal activity in places with terrifying histories, as is sometimes possible when investigating. Ghosts have followed investigators to their homes, and they believe someone they made contact with on a previous investigation did just that. On January 21st, 2021, they hosted a live stream to document what they believed was a haunting in their home. Hoping to document evidence and find answers, they invited the public to join on their session. The first half of the investigation seems to produce little results, but something rather disturbing appears as they venture down the stairs. Through a glazed window overlooks the stairs, the figure of a woman can be seen staring towards the camera. At first glance, it can be easily mistaken for a painting, but when inspecting it closer, you can see there is actual 3D depth to it, something a painting would be impossible to have. The figure looks either like a woman with long dark hair or someone wearing a robe. To further prove it is not a painting, the same window is shown a few minutes later and the figure is gone. Furthermore, they venture outside to show the other side, and it is several feet above the ground, making it impossible for anyone to get up there without a ladder. Nothing around the window resembles the figure, as it has simply vanished. As they descend further down the stairs, an orb can be seen flying fast across the top left corner of the screen. Once they reach the bottom step, a loud, low exhale can be heard.
La esfera.
The sound is too low pitched to be either of the couple, as we could hear them breathe beforehand and it doesn't match. It is also possible it was the sound of something sliding, although we cannot see what or if anything moves. Unfortunately, the remainder of the video becomes uneventful and other apparent orbs can be easily explained. For example, while they are filming a mirror, a glowing orb-like spectacle can be seen flying around. However, when the camera's light is turned off, it disappears, meaning it was simply a glare from the light itself. It's terrifying to imagine something becoming attached to you and following you back to your home. It's one of the risks when going on investigations, meaning it is not for the faint of heart. It also shows how there are more than just the physical dangers on these adventures, with even professional investigators such as Ghost Adventures suffering from severe states of paranormal oppression and even possession. It goes as a warning for those who decide to take up the cause for themselves. Take heed and be aware of what you are getting into, even if you are a skeptic or non-believer. Respect the locations you are visiting. Some videos are so terrifying that you may catch yourself holding your breath. You have phantom coworkers? Well, you're not the only one. Published by David Condley in February of 2017, this security footage was captured at around 5 in the morning. The video doesn't identify the workplace, but the footage shows a reception area, perhaps of a hotel. A man is sitting at the front desk on a computer when this happens. Maybe it's just a breeze, or so you would think, as the man stares at the piece of paper perplexed. A tree in the corner of the room starts to shake. This prompts the man to jump to his feet in shock. Spooky noise ensues, and this creepy combination sends the man leaping over the counter and fleeing this haunted place. Are his coworkers playing a trick on him? Or are his coworkers ghosts? Either way, he might want to start checking the job ads. Forests at night are innately creepy, but this one just got creepier. Published in October of 2006 by The Ghost Hunter, she writes, "What appears to be a spirit moving amongst the trees in this surveillance video, taken by amateur ghost hunters. The footage shows a ghostly, transparent figure moving through the trees from the right side of the shot to the left, gliding amongst the trees. It then vanishes into the darkness. Many in the comments suggest the ghost is too tall and thus this video must be fake, but Ghost Hunter writes, despite comments on this, I would approximate that the apparition is about 6 feet tall, as the tree on the right is about 20 feet. What do you think this figure is? If not a ghost, then what? One thing's for sure, it's definitely something you should keep the lights on for." A TikToker named Sarimar Munez finds herself laid out across the floor in surprise at this ghost sighting, which she is about to point out in a moment. She is singing a musical when a small gray face pokes into the shot and then retreats. The way it moves on its way out looks better than most edited videos, so either she put a lot of effort into this one, or as much as I wish it wasn't, maybe it's real. Some poltergeists are gentle, others are vicious. Published by Find Ghost in November of 2021, the uploader of this video writes, imagine coming home to this. Security footage captures a large and heavy looking sofa flip forward onto its face unexpectedly. A moment later, a piece of glass is catapulted from a display in the corner. The glass launches across the room and hits a wall. Then something seems to be horseplaying with the camera itself. It is rolled around onto the floor, while yet another object appears to be on its way to falling over on it. The scary video cuts out before the object does, but I wonder what else this family came home to. When you're playing peekaboo with the paranormal, it's never a game. Posted to the Ghost Video subreddit by Podcast Africa, the clip shows an urban explorer walking through an abandoned house. As he walks down the corridor, he glances in a room to his left. There's a big empty window to the room beyond, and in that window this peeks out, a shadow person or a real one. The dark shadow ducks down quickly and the explorer hurries over into the next room and finds it completely empty. So who or what is playing around here? Or are they even playing? YouTube channel KBC Cazadores de Fantasmas investigated the site of a reported unidentified flying object landing.
Tá vindo a mata, João.
Não, não é bicho não. Nunca vi bicho não, esses barulhos não.
They come across a burning ember. Was someone recently here? Shortly after, they see something watching them.
Tá lá agora. Tá lá, vermelho. Mano, tem alguma coisa ali. Irmão, tô vendo. Não, mas pera aí, mano, ela tá focando. Alô? Pedro. Alô? João, é um olho, João.
They quickly grow frightened.
Tá de frente comigo. Correu, João. Pedro, olha ali pra baixo, Pedro. Cadê a gente? Correu pra cá. Correu pra baixo, mano. Mano, tá mudando de forma, mano.
They find nothing there, but as they're about to call it a day, they hear something again. And then they leave us to guess what's next. I think they were being stalked, but I don't think their stalker was human. We'll have to tune into the next episode to find out. Most people run away from monsters, but these two friends seem to be chasing one down. The creature looks to be very wide and is either covered in matted black fur or wearing huge black robes. I can't exactly tell which one. What I do notice are the impossibly large feet, and even though it's kind of hard to see, towards the end of this clip I can barely make out a gigantic white hand that is almost the size of its entire body. The creature's proportions make absolutely no sense, and when it turns around to defend itself against them, the front looks even more horrifying. Look again and you'll see the creature has a giant gray face that is twisted and warped beyond recognition. This still frame shows what I am talking about. Let me highlight the two eyes and open mouth so you can see it better. And of course, its oversized, gnarled hand is reaching out for them both. Mutations are not an uncommon occurrence amongst calves, but they are rare enough where witnessing one might surprise you. This calf was born in Villa Ana, Argentina in September of 2019, and it did indeed surprise its owners, as it appeared to have a human face. The calf was born with a malformed skull, a small nose and mouth, and had difficulty holding its head up. It passed away within hours of this video, but farmers shared the footage online, sending the video viral. Speaking to local media, genetics expert Nicholas Menego said the calf might have possessed a rare genetic mutation. Similar incidents have been captured on video across the world, with a two-headed calf with features to boot, 2 mouths and 4 eyes, in India earlier in 2019. Although not too unusual from a biological standpoint, I think we can all agree that looking into the sad-looking eyes of this calf, after knowing what happened to it, takes courage. UK's Drizzly Jeremy goes exploring an abandoned building, in his words, just to see how it was.
I'm gonna explore an abandoned morgue. I don't want to go in because it looks scary.
Inside is quiet and creepy. Beyond a decrepit little office and break room, they find the morgue area, where the passed away were once kept in large refrigerated units. They retch at the disgusting stench. A layer of foul slime has rotted the floor.
Oh! What is it? The floor was soggy, man.
That's when some scary moments are caught on camera.
Go in there. I need to put it on the car. Off the Andre. What? Bro.
They hear a loud noise behind them and quickly get out of there. I'm pretty sure the noise is coming from in the space where bodies once were.
What the?
Are you brave enough to take one last look in that storage room before leaving? I wouldn't dare. 3 bankers have a conversation during a slow day when the silhouette of a child darts across the empty lobby. Watch this part and try to translate what is said immediately after. The lobby area gets plenty of sunlight, and yet the figure looks completely covered by shade. Not a single detail is visible as it runs by, which makes this CGI or a shadow person. And when they go over to where it just was, nothing is there at all. You never hear the door open or any footsteps. It's simply gone. Here's another video of a different warehouse that's possibly haunted. Take a look at what one of the security cameras picks up, slinking around their screen presumably late at night after everyone has gone home. The footage looks really grainy, which ordinarily would be a sign of editing, but then again, this is also exactly how most low-budget security cameras look. Maybe it was a bug walking across the lens, maybe it was edited, or maybe it really was a shadow person silently floating across a work site. We'll never know for certain. A woman was caught disappearing on multiple CCTV cameras at the same time. The incident made the news, and basically nobody is certain what happened. Take a look at these two completely different angles. I can understand a camera malfunction happening once, but the chances of it happening to two separate cameras at the same time is very slim. I don't understand how this could happen, and I'm eager to read your opinions. Do you think that this woman has truly disappeared? Is this phantom nurse here to heal you or to hurt you? Published by Luan Mendez in May of 2020. Luan and his crew are exploring an abandoned hospital whose staff hasn't really left. Wandering the halls, they seem to turn down one hallway where they seem to spot something skulking in the darkness. The thing must have disappeared, so they move on, continuing in their search, and that's when they see her, Nurse Ratchet. They race away as fast as they can, and one of the crew falls unexpectedly to the ground. It almost looks like he was clotheslined by something invisible. The crew manages to make it out of the hospital alive, and that's no thanks to the creepy phantom nurse. Did a spirit just drift out of this possessed doll? Published by Paranormal Nightmares in March of 2022, the uploader writes, "My daughter said in the night our cat scratched on her bedroom door. He never does this. We checked security footage and captured this. This video shows a strange gray mass floating out from one of these creepy dolls. It looks like smoke or mist. The cat obviously sees it and soon tears off. Did we just witness a spirit exiting? Whatever it is, it made this guy a scaredy cat." The Menger Hotel in San Antonio, Texas, claims to be one of the most haunted areas in the entire state, and there are plenty of videos to back up this statement. One of these videos involves a brother and sister who both suddenly get a strange feeling from the building and decide to start recording. They are exploring a very small and cramped area of the hotel. As they are discussing the possibilities out loud, the woman suddenly announces that she is extremely uncomfortable. You can't see it very well at first, but soon the camera zooms in and reveals 3 deep scratches along the woman's bare shoulder. They look fresh and sting badly. She says that she was simply sitting on the steps for just one moment, and the jagged marks appeared as soon as she stood up. Judging from this video, it looks as though she may have been literally cut by an angry ghost. This leaked video supposedly captures a secret anti-gravity experiment conducted by the government in broad daylight. A military helicopter rises in the air without moving its blades, all while making a magnetic humming sound the entire time. Listen to how bizarre distorted droning becomes more distant as the helicopter somehow flies away. There definitely seems to be something aboard causing that sound, perhaps an experimental anti-gravitational device. I don't know about you, but that definitely does not look or sound like a normal helicopter to me. I have heard that helicopters can sometimes look like this depending on the camera that's recording it, but if someone could provide me with a more concrete explanation, I would really appreciate it. Until then, I have to wonder if this really was a government anti-gravity experiment taken within plain sight of the public. A viral TikTok video has millions wondering what kind of paranormal activity is going on at Holly Armstrong 20's haunted house. I guess she must have heard weird noises from her closet or something, because this scary moment caught on camera is terrifying.
Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god. Oh my...
The creepy doll moves all by itself, first clicking its tiny heels together and then lifting one shoe in the air. It looks like a weird paranormal moment, but I think I have this bizarre video figured out. Okay, pretend this red line is a string. They could have tied it to the doll's feet and then stretched it across the open door so that somebody could make it look like the doll's moving from off camera. So while this TikTok video looks like it's beyond creepy, I don't think it's necessarily paranormal, or at least I really hope not. In a circle near a haunted hut, Om Vlogs sets out to complete the 12-hour challenge.
भाग जाएगा अगर कोई जानवर हो तो। यार ये कहाँ से खुलता है? पूरा पैक में। हाँ ये भी है।
This is what happened.
वो सब झोपड़ी है, वो हॉन्टेड वाली। नहीं 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 देख। तेरा ये है। क्या है? I don't know इतना। कुछ आवाज़ है। कैसी बताऊँ आवाज़?
Something is right outside their tent. When they exit, they hear it in the trees.
मेरे को झोपड़ी पे है ना हल्का सा भी मूवमेंट से दिखाई देती। झोपड़ी पे? हाँ।
And then they see it in the hut.
रुक जब कुछ बेकाबू है। ओए प्रियंक इस तरफ से आ रही है मेरे उस तरफ कोई कुछ कर रहा है।
Back inside their tent, they hear this, so they turn out the light.
लाइट बंद कर नीचे। वो बड़ी लाइट बंद कर दी।
But that only seems to disturb it more.
लाइट बंद कर। लाइट बंद कर। भाई कोई तो है।
And just when they think the beast is gone,
खोल लाइट दिखा लाइट मार गया बस आई भगाए।
back outside, it looks as though something disturbing has happened in the hut.
दिख रहा है पेड़। ओए देख यहीं से ओए ये देख ये यहाँ हमने रखा था। हाँ देख पहले उसने कोई जानवर था या कुछ था उसने यहाँ पे ये सब करा है फिर उसके बाद वो कुछ खाने की चीज समझ के।
Well, I'm not sure what beast is haunting them. I am sure of one thing. I will not be completing this 12-hour challenge. Are there paranormal happenings recurring in your home? This YouTuber can relate. Published to YouTube by Youngboy Lloyd in March of 2020, Lloyd asks viewers for help as he believes there's a ghost in his home. He shows video proof across a series of 3 clips. The first part shows him watching something on TV when a plant falls over on its own accord and rolls off the entertainment center. When Lloyd moves to pick it up, it falls over again and he gets scared off by something unseen. In the next clip, he takes action, burning sage to get rid of the ghostly presence, and as he does so, the chair at the end of the table starts moving. Lloyd doesn't notice at first, so the ghost forces him to, aggressively flinging the chair onto its side. In the last video, Lloyd says he's not going to allow a ghost to take over his house. As he's talking, a cabinet door opens behind him in the next room. A pot on the counter can be seen falling to the floor. Lloyd jumps up from his seat and tells the ghost to leave.
Eat that thing, my boy, with her.
Did the ghost listen? I don't think so.
A couple of friends are driving around late at night, probably just to unwind for the day and have a good time with one another. During the drive, one of the guys in the car says that he thinks he saw some sort of animal, like a buck wandering around in the bushes right next to them. It almost seems like they are about to get out of the vehicle to take a closer look, but as you'll find out why in just a second, it's a good thing they didn't.
I thought I seen a big buck or something. Wait, stop right there. What is that? Is that a buck? What is that? Dude, that's what a...
what the heck? Look how big its arm span is, like arm, upper torso, and then the middle part of its torso just looks so thin along with its legs. Like it's just so built on just like the upper part of its body here. It's just super bizarre.
Wait.
And its skin almost looked gray. One more time here.
You seen a big buck or something? Wait, stop right there. What is that? Is that a buck? What is that? Dude, that's what a... Wait, stop right there. What is that? Is that a buck? What is that? Dude, that's what a...
Besides the obvious creature jumping in the woods that oddly resembles the urban legend the rake, a lot of people in the comments are confused as to where the YouTube channel Paranormal News received this video, because the channel is Russian owned, but as you can tell, the men in the video are very much so American. Regardless of who it was filmed by though, this is one creature you would never want to see. Even if it is fake, it would startle you, especially this late at night. Donnie and Tony partner up to form a freaky ghost hunting channel called Daunton Paranormal. This time the pair are exploring a spooky cemetery known only as the Labyrinth. Exact location unknown. What they found in this haunted place is beyond words and without explanation. Watch the far doorway and you'll see it too. The thing that weirded them out for life.
Don't pull in.
As you can see, a tall figure blocks the top of the stairs. When they get too close, the peculiar shadow curiously disappears. After reviewing the evidence, Daunton Paranormal wonders if they've actually captured a real ghost on video. They didn't notice the creepy shadow until reviewing the tape much later. The shadow figure looks creepy and appears to have no natural source, at least not one from our side of this world. Tell me if you think this was a true sighting, and more importantly, if you would be brave enough to go up to that door and face whatever that was. I don't think I could ever return for a follow-up investigation, but I hope they do. Myrtle Sorosa is a popular model and actress from the Philippines who witnessed something unexplainable while on tour. In eastern Samar, she and her crew are navigating unlit back roads when they spot this small phantom-like figure in the street. In Myrtle's words, the white blob caught by the dash cam does not match what they saw in person. She says what they saw looked more like a child who was around 10 years old with a pale face and a bluish-white shirt. They wanted to double back and save the helpless child, but their tour guide said that this road is famous for child ghost sightings, and that it was best to get out of there quickly. I guess this could all be just a publicity stunt, but since eastern Samar once had a bad typhoon that claimed the lives of many children, I think that she is probably telling the truth. Way of Vlogs is a YouTuber with a hidden talent that he's only recently begun to share with the world, a skill that he says only takes patience and practice to master. With a burst of mental energy, he can make a can roll towards him. Or maybe he pushed the table to make the can roll forward and yelled to cover up the noise.
No strings whatsoever. As you can tell, see? Nothing attached to it. No magnets inside. So you can see I'm shaking it around, no magnets.
I personally think it might have been the latter, but watch again and tell me what you see. Next, he makes the object fall over without touching it. There could be a fishing wire in his hand, but if so, it should show up easily against his black clothes, and it does not, at least not as far as I can tell. He definitely doesn't push on the table this time either. Still, if he could have made the object fall the other way, then it would show he was not using a fishing wire once and for all.
I don't know about you, but at this point I'm still uncertain. So I guess people must have been saying he was using a string, because in the next video he holds his hands out to show he is not using one at all. However, as one commenter pointed out, he could have a string wrapped around his toe or something. It does kind of look like he might be moving his foot, but it's hard to say. But when he shows the cup without any hesitation, it makes what he says seem kind of legit.
Now, just to make sure that there isn't any strings or anything involved, look. I'll use my shirt.
I don't really analyze many videos like this because I don't necessarily believe in them, but vlogs like this are enough to make me wonder. Give me your thoughts about this subject and tell me if you think this is fake or if he's able to somehow move objects through sheer will. I apologize for the poor quality of this video, but the backstory is too good to pass up. The Newcastle High School in Indiana received a notification from their security company that something weird was going on. So they looked at the CCTV videos to see exactly what the problem was.
See here, the lights are off in the choir room.
I'm actually freaking out right now.
The power goes out.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
This is scaring me.
So I'm thinking that the power going off is weird enough, but look what happens when it comes back on.
The lights are on. What the?
Do you see that? The light came on.
I'm no electrician, but if the lights in the other room were off before the power outage, then they shouldn't come back on unless someone was in the room to mess with the switch. But as far as anyone knows, it was late at night and the school was empty, so I don't know how this could be. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Odd Entertainment 279, the Redditor titled this post, "Croaky Ghost Sound," and they went on to include some more backstory in the comments writing, "I was at this weird abandoned BBC receiving station that closed in the 70s. Watch this back just now. This sound was in the video. Took this just 2 days ago. Well, let's have a listen." Did you hear it? If so, what do you think it is? More than one person in the comments thinks it's a frog, but I can't say I have enough frog knowledge to agree or disagree. Do you think this is the case? Or are you siding with the OP, who thinks he's captured a ghost sound on camera outside this abandoned building? A YouTuber named Marissa Rachel makes a ghost video update to show what can go wrong when you take your chances with a Ouija board. She thinks her house has been haunted by a ghost for a while, and she sometimes wakes up with strange marks on her body that she can't explain. First, a ghost in her room spells out the word help.
Is this room haunted? Moving it. Me neither. I'm not moving it. Well, I'm definitely not moving it. I didn't do that either. Oh my, that's really scary. I want to stop playing.
I can't see a string, and this video is a pretty decent resolution, so one should be visible across the darker parts of the board. That still doesn't rule out a magnet under the table though, so maybe that's how this video was made. I know this plastic pointer doesn't have one, but maybe they've taped one underneath. Otherwise, this scary video must be paranormal. Published by Urban Ghost Hunters in February of 2020. This paranormal crew investigated a haunted 19th century church in rural Tennessee, with urban legends surrounding it, involving dark rituals from the 60s onward, and reports of shadow figures and disembodied voices there. It was ripe for investigation, and the crew wasn't disappointed. After placing a Bible on the candlelit railing in the church, something in there was angered by it. I I guess this church lives up to its haunted reputation. This strange knocking happens at the same time every night and no other times during the day.
2:30 in the morning.
This is definitely no animal. Whoever is knocking wants to make its presence known and apparently wants to get in now, immediately. I can also hear a strange paranormal voice before they knock during this part. I don't think it's the television because you don't hear it during any other part of the video. He shows us the outside of the trailer, and clearly nothing is out of the ordinary. Yet when he returns indoors, so does the knocking from outside.
5 minutes has been doing it.
Hopefully whatever this is never gets the idea to try the door. In July of 1973, Clara and Phil Dandy moved into this unassuming farmhouse bordering the woods of Hinsdale, New York, thinking that it would be a nice cozy place to raise their children. They would hardly last for more than a year. Their troubles began within days of moving in. Minor annoyances like constant hang-up phone calls and cabinet doors getting left open, and then not so minor things like a soft chanting coming from deep in the woods. Soon apparitions were roaming the 100-year-old house along with faces in the windows. As the weeks dragged into months, they recruited the help of a clergyman named Father Alphonsus to cleanse the house, upon which they claimed to have felt a scream rattle the walls, followed by a period of calm. However, the peace and quiet lasted only a few days before the spirits returned in full force, forcing the devastated Dandy family to move out 13 months later in October of 1974. The house has chewed through a few more families since then. None of them stayed for long, but nobody knows what they saw. The house couldn't sell and fell into a state of disrepair until 2015, when a paranormal investigator named Daniel Clace purchased it for him and his team to conduct their research. Daniel is an author, speaker, and paranormal documentary maker who co-founded the Western New York Paranormal Society in 2012. He has been interested in the paranormal his whole life, and that's why these videos seem legitimate, starting with this one in the downstairs bedroom. These spheres of light could be dust particles, or they could be spirit orbs that appear when the air becomes charged with paranormal energy. One thing that's weird is they are always moving straight up, all of them, and sometimes two at a time. This live camera feed is over 30 minutes long, and not once does an orb move downwards. That's definitely odd. And remember, I said faces are seen in the window. Well, I think this might be one of them, black eyes and all. Daniel uploaded the next video after he led a different team of ghost hunters investigate, a group called the Warriors of the Paranormal. They didn't want to miss anything, so they slept in shifts. One of them, named Bobby Ann, is asleep on the couch when this appears over her. A closer view only presents more questions. I see tiny ears, but the face is blacked out and it has no visible eyes or a mouth. It looks like it could have been fur, but that could also be bare skin. It's not a raccoon or a small dog, but those are the only two things it even remotely resembles. Maybe it could be a hand puppet, but there's no room for a second person to lay beside her, and she is facing the camera with the covers over her, so it can't be her. And it almost definitely can't be a wild animal, because I think even the deepest sleeper would wake with something so close. This is a different view from behind the couch. Bobby Ann turns in her sleep and looks at what's wrong with her arm. This part looks like their arm, but this circled part looks like something entirely different as it raises up then disappears, so maybe it was part of the blanket or something. But this rising dark apparition definitely is not. I don't know about you, but that definitely looked like some shadow person activity, or maybe edited. Either way, I've saved the creepiest part of all for last. Check out this ghostly figure standing over the couch. It looks like a little girl in a dress with her head down watching. I bet you didn't notice, but she was there all along. While most of the scary clips from the woods could potentially be wild animals, this one's a head scratcher.
published to YouTube by Ian Black in September of 2020. This isn't the shriek of a mountain lion or some other wild cat. This is next level terrifying. The roar echoes through the calm woods as though you're at the bottom of a well. While at first it may sound puzzling, the mystery is solved when the cameraman tells his dog, "We've missed the train."
We missed the train, Mo. We missed it.
But without such context, what would you feel if you were blasted with this off-putting roar during your nature walk? I guess lesson learned, stay away from the tracks. A YouTuber named D-Edge detects strange activity in his hallway after leaving his PS4 camera on record. This small figure appears no less than 2 times, despite the apartment being empty, at least according to the uploader. 20 seconds later, the figure makes its second entrance, hanging around the top of the doorway each time before disappearing into the darkness. I was thinking that maybe this was light coming from the window across the room, but the angle doesn't exactly match up. Something is definitely there, but let me know what you think it could be. This video will definitely make you want to double check all of your wiring in your home. Eric McGregor takes one look at this discolored brown outlet and identifies a major problem.
It's catching on fire.
Amber sparks shoot out of the middle of a frayed wire that is still hot and fully charged. It looks like the wall is going to catch on fire at any moment, especially here 23 seconds into the video. Eric calmly unscrews the outlet and plucks it free from the wall, which in turn trips the breaker and turns off all the power. I don't know if this is the safest solution, so you definitely shouldn't consider this video to be a tutorial of any kind, but his strategy does seem to work in this specific instance. Sometimes these kind of faulty wires can go undetected for months or even years. All it takes in the meantime is one random spark, especially late at night, to change everything forever. Is This the World's Angriest Poltergeist? Published by Paranoiacs in December of 2021. When the crew arrives at this place in the mountains, they quickly discover they're not alone. They enter the building and hear more and more banging noises. When the camera turns toward the door, a pale face can be seen briefly peering around it. More banging erupts upstairs. And it sounds like things are being thrown down to prevent the crew from coming up. They head back outside and the banging continues. This has sent one of the crew into hysterical laughter. Then the door bursts open. Back inside, things are still being thrown around. They head back to the stairs and finally venture upstairs, despite the poltergeist not letting up. Back on the ground floor, a large iron pole is thrown. And what sounds like footsteps are heard above them. When they make it to the top, they probably wish that they hadn't. After more torment from the poltergeist, something again peers around the corner. Is this what's causing all the mayhem? If so, the power coming from this small figure is terrifying. 30-year-old Alexa was returning to her Bronx home in University Heights when she got that feeling in the pit of her stomach. She detailed what happened to her in a Twitter thread in September of 2018, noting that she wrote the thread to warn women in her neighborhood to be aware that this person is out there. Alexa said she was returning home by Uber at 3:50 a.m., heading to the lobby of her building, when she got a strange feeling that she wasn't alone, as she suspected, and the building security footage confirmed she wasn't.
A man had followed her through the courtyard outside and quickened his pace to enter the lobby right behind her. Alexa notes in the thread that she didn't see or hear the man watching her. When she was in the lobby, she realized there was a figure hovering outside the front door, waiting in the first entryway. She decided to double check the door locked behind her. She turned to the door to shut and lock it and noticed he had his foot on the corner, ensuring the door didn't close after she entered. She knows that the man likely intended to confront her outside the building, which is why he didn't enter the lobby all the way, or he was waiting for her to head toward her apartment so he could run after her and force his way in. Don't worry, he didn't have a chance. Alexa shut the door, moving his foot out of the way to do so. Unfortunately, the suspect had a scarf wrapped around his face to ensure he wouldn't be identified by security cameras. She notes that drivers should always wait until their passengers reach their front doors safely. In her case, the Uber driver left when she got out of the vehicle. Alexa also remarks that, without the security footage to back her claim, her story would undoubtedly have been questioned and disbelieved. These stories should always be listened to and heard, and above all, as Alexa did, always trust your gut. This home surveillance footage from 2009 shows the Jameson family acting strangely on their property in Eufaula, Oklahoma shortly before they disappeared. They can be seen making about 20 trips to and from their house without talking to each other at all. Some investigators even believe they were in a trance-like state. The Jamesons were not seen again for years, until hunters found their scattered remains in 2014. No one knows what happened to them because their remains were too decomposed for forensic testing. The cause of their demise has never and probably will never be determined. So all that remains of their last days is this videotape. You might want to rethink booking that Airbnb after seeing this scary video posted to the r/ghosts subreddit by Lemonisa. The Redditor writes that spooky sounds during the first night in this rental home in Norway kept waking her and her partner. This prompted her to start recording. This is what she captured. In an upper slanted window facing the living room, a mysterious white anomaly appears. After a moment, the anomaly slowly fades away before completely vanishing. It's not clear if the figure is beyond the window looking in, or something inside the house is being reflected. Some in the comments think it looks extraterrestrial. Others say it looks like a face or hand pressed against the glass. The Redditor mentions in the comments that this house was haunted. She says that they'd be sitting in the living room and would hear random things fall from the counter and strange noises from the basement. She notes that this first night in the home was especially creepy. Would you have the courage to remain a second night in the house if you saw this in the window? I sure wouldn't. A YouTuber named Harry Brook is filming himself in a bullpen. When one of the bulls strays away from the rest, Harry doesn't even have time to shut the gate before the giant animal charges straight for him, and he barely makes it up the fence with his life. Clearly, there is nothing that any of the fellow ranchers could have done to save him. The entire event is over in less than 10 seconds. A YouTuber named Ola Bible lives in the middle of the forest in Oregon, far away from civilization. So when he hears noises outside of his house late at night, he curiously pokes around his backyard with a camera to find the source. It isn't long before he comes across an object that looks out of place. It looks like it could just be a rock or something, but he's memorized this area well enough to know it's foreign in nature. He zooms in.
The heck is that?
Then he says something out loud to himself and draws unwanted attention.
Oh my god!
A thin humanoid creature cranes its impossibly long neck in his direction. Look closely and you'll even see a surprised expression on its face, almost as if it's been caught doing something secretive. I can't tell if it's feasting on an animal, or maybe even burying something in the ground. He spins around and runs away before we get a chance to figure out what it's doing for sure. I guess the video could just be special effects, but I can't tell for certain. Maybe a follow-up video taken during the day would give us more conclusive evidence.
Question: what's scarier than a theater at night? Answer: a haunted one. Published to TikTok. This appears to show the phantom caretaker of a haunted theater. Jay says the theater is supposed to be empty, but he keeps hearing a noise, so he's searching the theater to find its source.
Alright guys, so I work at this old theater and been hearing a noise. It's a really beautiful theater, as you can see, if you can see it at all. But I keep hearing a noise in here and there's not supposed to be anybody here, so...
Suddenly, he glimpses something in an upper theater box. He can't quite capture what it is, but after backing up a bit and zooming in, he manages to focus on this. It looks like the ghostly figure of a little boy dressed in a suit. Although the image is blurry, the scary figure is distinctly there, leering out from a theater box. Phantom of the Opera? An intruder? Maybe he's just a ghost fanboy waiting patiently for the play to start. Is someone there? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit. Resurrect writes, "The De Soto mine in Arizona is the creepiest place I've ever been. At the time this was taken, nobody else was there. Yet listen closely to their recording. From deep within the mine, you can hear footsteps walking on what sounds like wooden planks. The Redditor says in the video that his eyes are playing tricks on him, but he writes that they didn't hear anything but water droplets at the time. They only heard the footsteps later as they watched the recording back."
I really hope it's not my eyes playing with me, but...
Is something in this tunnel with them? Some in the comments think it's paranormal. Others suggest the water droplet theory, which is that the echoing of water droplets can distort to the point that they sound like other sounds. What do you think? Is this nothing but distorted water droplets? Or is something at the end of that dark tunnel? Imagine glancing at the security camera footage outside your home and catching this, published by blah blah in December of 2021. This scary video is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. It was apparently posted on Instagram originally. Captured around midnight in August of 2021. Security footage shows a few cars parked outside in a wooded area. The freaky part is the gangly figure contorting itself in the driveway. The figure walks backward and then forward very strangely, its back hunched over and long limbs swinging. The bony figure then flips his hair back and walks toward the camera, arms outstretched. He then turns around looking up toward the sky. It's not clear what he sees there. Maybe he's waiting. Is this a particularly gaunt human having a laugh? Or is this something extra, waiting for the mothership? This video, published by Adam in 2007, shows what the owner's dog has been barking at for several weeks. In the dark video, you can see the dog approach the outer door which leads into the kitchen. He seems like he's been alerted by something. He walks right up to the door, then something eerie happens. The door blinds open rapidly, then close just as rapidly. The dog waits there, and there's a tapping noise heard on the film as light appears from the outside. When the blinds open again, then they rapidly shut. The dog whines for a minute, and the blinds roll up a bit, and then a bit more, and then even more than that. The dog just sits guard at the door as the blinds roll up slowly. For the rest of the clip, the loyal and very concerned dog just sits there at the door, aware of the paranormal happenings, but not sure what to do about them. None of us are, Rex. This event is unexplainable in my opinion, but let me know if you have a different guess. A family watches television while one of them checks their phone in the dining room. No one is near the refrigerator, and yet somehow this happens.
On a different day, their motion-activated camera, which this family says does not turn on for dust, records this strange light for just a second, and then nothing else for the rest of the night. Everything starts to become clear when this larger light floats into the driver's seat and then disappears. The family's grandmother passed away 2 years ago, and this is what she used to drive. All 3 videos, when combined with the recent passing, makes me think that their grandmother might be checking in on them, even from the afterlife. A YouTuber named Joseph Chanslom has been experiencing paranormal happenings around his house for quite some time now. Most of the activity happens around his bedroom, though no part of the house seems off limits. After giving a brief tour of his house, Joseph turns out most of the lights and goes to bed with the camera running. He wants to catch the ghost in action. It isn't long before everything he was afraid of starts to happen. Joseph wakes up and grabs the camera. He races around the house trying to find an intruder, but comes up with nothing. Let me know if you think this is real, and if not, how he did this all by himself. Never take something from an abandoned property. You never know what may possess it. Posted by Gary B8632 to the Chills Narrator subreddit. Gary explains that his sister visited an abandoned hospital months ago and removed a glass bowl and a basket from the place. Now it seems like something else came with these taken pieces. The Redditor says his sister was alone in her room around 3 a.m. However, beyond the desk, a shadow figure clearly manifests on the wall, appearing for a moment before vanishing into the darkness of the hallway. The Redditor claims that his sister has been waking up with marks ever since. Did she remove a cursed artifact from the property? And is this shadow person somehow possessing these cursed objects? Best bet, return these artifacts before the aggression gets any worse. YouTuber Exploring with Josh explores the Screaming Witches Forest on Pendle Hill, and they aren't disappointed. Their first sign is when the REM pod goes off.
Dude.
It was like
it even was poking the thing.
Now I'm getting freaked out.
When 2 go off at once, it's obvious they are in a powerful presence.
Whoa! Whoa! Bro! They're both going off at the same time!
Yo!
Holy dude. I gotta get off this rock before I bust. Oh my god.
Both at the same time.
That was insane. How many times do you ever see a REM?
The spirit then starts to curse at them.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! That just lit up every single light!
Another kind of god. Fuck you!
Holy sh**!
It just said fuck you, tell me not!
Oh my god, it definitely did.
Hey! In an evil hey!
And then they become more aggressive.
Oh no.
Bro,
hang on, bro.
What did you
just do then? I didn't do anything, but I just felt like a really bad pain in my back.
What do you
like a scratch, like an actual like a dagger.
No, are you serious?
No, I swear to God. I swear to God, I'm not joking.
I mean, dude, I believe you.
Their devices go berserk, and when Josh lifts his shirt, he reveals that he definitely was scratched by a spirit.
Like,
no, dude,
Josh,
no, dude.
Hold on a second.
You've got to be kidding me.
Josh, have you done this?
No.
No, promise me.
No, bro, I promise. I was just with you. Like, you guys see me this whole time. I've been recording this whole time.
Josh,
I feel there's definitely some residual witchcraft on Pendle Hill, and to me, it's clear that it will take no prisoners. A paranormal investigator named Ankur Kashyap knows of a spooky house nearby that's as haunted as it is abandoned, or so the local legends say. He and his friends wait until after dark to explore the house to avoid getting caught and to increase their odds of getting a real ghost sighting on camera. They sneak over the gate and are too busy filming an introduction to notice their first paranormal encounter of the night in the form of a yellow ghost orb. Translate this part if you can, because I feel like whatever he says is what gets the attention of the spirit world.
So आज मैं आ रखा हूँ अपने दोस्त निखिल की कॉलोनी में और मैं आ रखा हूँ एक haunted house पे. ये वाला haunted house मेरे दोस्त निखिल की.
And look, Ankor even subconsciously leans away seconds before the orb touches him, almost like some part of him senses an unwanted presence is near. Meanwhile, a pair of oversized eyes of something, possibly a ghost in the window, appear at 2 minutes and 51 seconds as they head through a basement entrance. Down this creepy, narrow hallway is a hidden room that seems out of place and has no reason to be here. Something about the discovery freaks them out, and they decide not to see what other secret rooms this small space holds. Instead, they go straight to the center of the house and perform some kind of ghost summoning ceremony with candles. Towards the end of the ritual, they sense a spirit slip into the room with them, and a mysterious shadow moves over them, or perhaps even through them, while at the same time the camera refuses to go back into focus. It's creepy, but I don't know why the camera person doesn't look over to get the ghost on camera. He misses the moment, so it's not exactly the best paranormal evidence ever, but the random moving shadow is pretty bizarre. And there's still one more odd encounter left. The group is soon surprised to find that the door refuses to budge, even though it's clearly unlocked. So either they are faking this movement, or else the haunted house is seriously refusing to let them leave. Just when the ghost hunters are getting anxiety and really starting to panic. A ghost slams a door in the distance, something has left the building, and the place feels abandoned once more, at least for the time being. Their door is no longer locked, and so the perplexed paranormal explorers take the hint and quietly let themselves out. They could have been pretending that the door was locked. However, the ghost orb, the moving shadow, and the ghost slamming a door is all evidence of the paranormal in my opinion. A YouTube channel called BD Ghost Hunters sent me this video of a cursed village in their home country of Bangladesh. They don't explain how or why it became cursed. Nobody ever talks about that. All anyone says is that it was abandoned long ago and that the survivors had to move across water to get away. Everyone knows not to cross the bridge because strange and scary things are waiting on the other side.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
But on this night, they want to find out what their elders won't tell them, and so they step forward. There's movement in the distance, the figure of a person in the shadows, not an animal. They approach the old building and see no one is on the roof.
জানলাটা মুভ করলো মনে হয় দেখো আল্লাহু আকবার আল্লাহু আকবার আল্লাহু আকবার লা ইলাহা ইল্লাল্লাহু আল্লাহু আকবার ওয়ালিল্লাহিল হামদ দেখো আস্তাগফিরুল্লাহ আউযু বিকালিমাতিল্লাহি তাম্মাতি মিন শাররি মা খালাক ভাই ওই জায়গায় বসে
The BD Ghost Hunter team bravely goes upstairs to investigate the paranormal activity, and that's when things get even more bizarre.
الناس مالك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس.
Astagfirullah. Astagfirullah. Auzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. الله أكبر.
Auzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Not even Google is able to translate what they are saying, so translate this next part if possible.
الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. الله.
Allahu Akbar.
আল্লাহ কাঁপতেছে কি? তুমি এই জিনিসটা কি দেখছো? এটা কিন্তু তোমার কি বলে মৃত্যু খাটিয়া দেখছো? আল্লাহ শুধু এটাকে দেখা যাচ্ছে
পরিত্যক্ত অবস্থা।
আল্লাহ দেখো।
I'm almost positive someone is holding the chair, but no one is there when they round the corner and it's still propped up at a weird angle. Anyway, that's weird, but when they reach the balcony, where the windows first open, they find nothing wrong with them. That's when they feel the curse grow stronger and turn around. They follow the footsteps up the roof and find a door that's deadbolt locked on their side, meaning no one could have passed through. They open a rusted door and don't find much activity at first, but that all changes soon enough. A ghost slams shut the door while they are examining the object. They dare not go any further into this village and leave knowing nothing more about the place other than the legends are real. Do you believe them? I might. Ryan Keelan and his friend Nick are checking out the Boca Raton Cemetery in search of two ghosts. One is named Mary and the other is only known as the Screaming Man. These two spirits are supposed to reside in the far western part of the graveyard, where terrifying shrieks can sometimes be heard according to local reports. Ryan and his friend hope to spend a full night in the cemetery. They get to the western part around sundown and start to experience signs of the paranormal almost instantly.
This light's flickering. Look, see? No.
Soon it becomes apparent that the lights are clearly turning off in front of them wherever they go, one light at a time.
Oh, I wish.
They are sure that Mary is trying to lead them somewhere, so they reluctantly follow, using the lights as their guide. The lights continue to go out one by one until they stop at a place where they can feel her presence. Look at this part and let me know if you can see the dark silhouette of Mary's ghost on the wall. A short while later, they both see something off camera and bolt. I think there's a good chance that their terror is real because, as you can see here, Nick is so scared that he doesn't even notice his phone fall out of his pocket. Ryan returns later with a second friend, Jesse, and they find themselves once again getting led by the lights.
See, this is the light that was flickering last time. Yep, there it is again. Oh boy.
This time, Ryan decides that this is too unnerving and opts not to follow. Who knows? Mary and the screaming man could have been waiting for them right around the corner. An urban exploration and paranormal investigation channel called SCPC Ghost makes a video about an abandoned house in Colton, California for no reason other than he thinks it looks interesting enough to record on camera. He videos the outside of the house from some different angles for a while and then decides it's time to explore the inside. The inside is well lit, and yet there is a mysterious moving shadow that may or may not be paranormal. The shadow goes away, and that's when he hears a soft, creepy noise.
Hello? Anybody here?
Nobody responds, and so he decides to fully investigate the abandoned house for evidence of the paranormal. In the kitchen, he records what could be a small pale ghost sighting in the window. In the back of the abandoned house, he finds what could be a secret room. On the other side of this brick wall, there's an opening that's too small to climb through, but small enough to drop food into, like someone was held captive.
It's crazy. The toilet.
And the marks on this door shown at 2 minutes likewise look like someone tried to claw their way out. It's a small search, and he's about to leave when he realizes there's one final creepy dark room to explore for paranormal evidence. He does not get a single step inside before he finds out this abandoned house is not so abandoned after all.
I can't see nothing. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
A voice in the darkness scares him, and he does not look inside to see who it belongs to. Had he checked, he might have found the room was empty, and that the woman's voice was nothing more than an EVP caught on camera. Instead, he sidesteps into the other room and, in doing so, accidentally records a mysterious moving shadow figure on the way out.
Just taking some pictures of the property. I'll be out here in a second, alright? Scared me.
I don't know if this is a paranormal ghost encounter or a woman who is going through hard times and trying to hide. All I know is that a voice doesn't have to sound scary to be terrifying, at least not when it's coming from the darkest corners of this sad little abandoned home. A YouTuber named Cringy Parkour thinks he hears a scream from within the mouth of a sewer pipe and stands outside contemplating what to do. He walks into the pipe for about half a minute and comes across one of the most authentic looking creatures that I've seen so far.
What the Hello?
There's very little to make me believe this video is fake. You only see it for a split second, but the creature has glowing eyes and what appears to be long, sharp teeth. The audio really does match the overall timing of the video, and the creature's screams echo loudly and realistically as it gives chase. I really hope that this video is fake and that this was just one of his friends, but something tells me this was probably real. In a frightening Twitter thread, Gregory88 shares a frankly freaky series of posts about an experience in the woods, including a video that has Twitter more than a bit concerned. Greg's thread begins on November 30th, 2018, where he claims to have seen something in the woods. He tweets, even though it might not be super safe to be out alone in the woods, it still feels better than being home all the time. He continues writing that he was walking in some woods that would be pretty if they didn't feel so creepy. Just when he was starting to feel at ease, he came across something strange in a clearing, but he only made it about 30 feet before he ran into something much creepier. He posts a picture of what he found. It appears to be an animal skull of some kind, mounted on a rock within a blackened triangle. Other smaller rocks are placed around the triangle, and on the skull in some sort of ritualistic looking design. Greg writes that he discovered something new in the wilderness every day, but he isn't nearer to comprehending what's going on. He said he felt dizzy as he headed away from the rock towards his home, but again he didn't make it far before he ran into yet another fright, a hooded woman dressed in black hovering at a distance on a hillside looking at nothing. Greg says she didn't see him as he hid behind a tree. Apparently he'd seen her before in these woods, but it had been weeks since his last sighting. After she left the hillside and drifted off into the forest, Greg darted home, fearing the whole while that she'd pop out and confront him. He asks the Twitter sphere if she's a witch. If not, what are these strange ritualistic displays? He also claims the video is proof that his imagination hadn't run wild. At this point, I just want answers, and I feel like I'm getting close to getting them, Greg writes. I'm just scared of what they might be. We're all pretty scared, Greg. We all are. This 10-minute video shows a toy ambulance going off at random, even though it normally requires someone to hold down the red buttons on top to make any noise. What's really weird is that it seems to respond to the voice of a child. Maybe it's just me, but it almost seems as though the ambulance was waiting for the child to count to a certain number here. It goes off a few other times, most when the child is speaking or about to speak. Oddly enough, both of these clips seem to involve the number 12. This video looks like it was intentionally set up to capture something that has been appearing in a closet lately. At first, you can't really see anything, but after a while, the shadows begin to form into a human-like figure. The shadowy shape peeks out from behind the door, and at one point even appears to have two bright white eyes. The grainy quality of this video is a strong indication that it was edited. But then again, this may be a very old cell phone video, or perhaps a very early internet video that needed to be heavily compressed before uploading. Listen closely, you might not be hearing things. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the Redditor explains that she was home alone with her daughter, watching a kid's show when she heard an old man clearing his throat and speaking in the background of the video she was filming.
Come on.
Many others in the thread hear the voice too, with Redditor temperamental elements saying it sounds like the man says, "What?" The Redditor asks, do you have any male relatives that have passed? Maybe they're back to see your baby girl. Boss said that the child's great-grandpa had passed away a little over a year ago. Perhaps great-grandpa is reaching out. Should they reach back? Have you ever been afraid of your own shadow? What if you know the animated shadow you're seeing is not yours at all? YouTuber Average American 2019 caught this shadow person on video in August of 2018. As he's descending the stairs of this building, a distinctive shadow is seen on the wall, passing in the opposite direction. Then as they descend a further stairwell, a second shadow person appears again. The man recording the footage notices the shadow person in real time. Luckily, he is with friends, so he can simply laugh off the incident. I'm guessing he'd feel differently if he was alone in this encounter. In paranormal lore, shadow people are considered by many to be masses of living humanoid figures. Paranormalists believe they are the presence of a spirit or other entity. While some think shadow people are creatures of evil intent, others consider them neutral, or even helpful extra-dimensional beings. Whatever you think they are, this video will surely make you afraid of the dark. A tropical storm has passed through here, and aside from causing a messy yard, this family seems to have been largely spared from the bad weather, or so they think. Luckily, everyone is alright, and fortunately the tree didn't go through their house. So if you live near the woods and have a serious storm pass through, remember, this scary CCTV video is exactly why you wait until it's dry before going outside.
ruptured asphalt, a volcano of water, mud flooding an entire street. That's what happened in Ukraine's capital of Kiev in May of 2017, published by KVN. This incident occurred due to a 2-meter wide pipe breaking while work was being done on a water canal. The footage shows the very moment the volcano breaks through the asphalt, toppling over garbage cans and gently nudging the cars in its path out of the way. Another camera angle captures just how high the mud reached. According to reports, the mud slushy hit all the way up to the 7th floor of a building. Miraculously, no one was harmed in the event, but some of these cars definitely needed a few runs through the car wash. Imagine being alone in your house when a toy starts speaking over and over again, like someone is rapidly pressing its button. That's exactly what happened one day to a YouTuber named Melinda Wolf Miller with her child's Mickey Mouse toy. She bravely took out her phone and started recording. The toy makes some low noises at first, but once she says something about it, it apparently becomes very aggressive and starts growling in response.
Something is in the toy box is possessed.
It almost sounds like the toy is saying somebody in between snarling. I don't think that the 2 toys on top of Mickey Mouse are heavy enough to activate the bottom, so I'm honestly not sure what's happening here.
A YouTuber in Central Texas named Dylan Dickerson stopped feeling safe from home years ago when he first heard these strange sounds in the sky in December of 2018.
I hope you can hear that.
What's especially scary about this video is that at times, it sounds like a scary voice.
Now we're hearing them again.
At other times, it sounds like something else completely.
It just seems like they're always barking.
Almost like a battle of some sort just beyond our galaxy.
I still don't know what that is.
As this video taken 2.5 years later shows, the unexplained sounds in the sky have not gone away. If anything, they've become louder and more persistent, like it's evolving. I think these are real sky sounds caught on tape because the bird sounds up close and the sky noises are far away. Plus, 2 years is a long time to keep faking the same kind of video without much notice. So I believe in these scary sounds over Dylan's house. Do you? While staying at a haunted place in Mount Albert, Ontario, YouTuber Mr. Devilish and his friend face their fears. At first, it seems like they have nothing to fear at all.
So like 15 minutes now, nothing's gone on. Chandelier, everything's good.
As you can see, the room is empty.
Nobody else is with us. Nobody.
But then this happens. Watch the kettle to the left.
I was talking and we're like, how are we gonna sleep here? And he was getting a little bit worried, like, and I was like, no, I don't care, like, really.
Well, I'm not sure what could explain this. The cameraman's delayed reaction to the kettle moving seems suspicious. Unless he was distracted, I'm not sure why he wouldn't have seen it right away. But if this is genuine, these guys need to get out, like yesterday. A YouTuber named Rata Negra Mago is positive that his house is haunted, and he claims to have the evidence to back it up. The kid's toy moves across the table and I don't see a string. Then a bottle falls off the table. There are no shadows coming from the other room when it happens. No one is around. And right before it happens, this strange traveling light appears. Looks paranormal to me. 4 days later, he catches this object moving all by itself. This one I find a little harder to believe because I feel like it's definitely in their grandma's line of sight. I mean, how could you miss a bright green reflective veg doing 360s for almost a full minute is beyond me. She must have been fully absorbed in her show. I have my doubts about this one, but at the same time I don't know how they're doing it, so maybe it's real. This final video taken almost a year later is perhaps the oddest of all. This hanging ornament begins moving in place with nothing to help get it started. Yes, it's by an open window, but there's no wind. The leaves on this plant don't move, and neither does this towel hanging over a chair. And it's not the air conditioner either, because this connected red string doesn't move at all. And if you're still not convinced, take a listen. At 1 minute and 20 seconds, this phantom light reflects across the stereo glass, though to be fair, it could just be a member of the family. It's not often you see a shooting star fly skyward. Redditor DJ Half shares this video captured in Miami, writing, "Shooting stars don't go up." Some of these flares don't look like shooting stars to me, but I'm not sure what they could be. Of course, commenters have some theories. Well, these are great guesses. A now deleted Reddit account suggests that it could be caused by spinning spotlights from the Miami Heat versus Toronto Raptors game that happened on that day, reflected off low cloud cover. But the Redditor says this was taken from a traffic cam at around 4 or 5 a.m. at a distance about 5 miles away from that stadium. So, back to the drawing board on this one. I guess I'll go with upside down shooting stars. In 2014, Paranormal Lana created her channel, and it soon became one of the fastest growing channels in the scary community. Her channel had reached over 50,000 subscribers, until on a September day in 2015, her channel vanished without a trace or reason. Since then, theories have abounded online about what caused her disappearance, though some think she just became bored with the platform. A more disturbing theory has picked up interest. Shortly before her disappearance, she posted the following on social media. Had a pretty scary stalking incident, so unfortunately I'm having to change the way I run my social media. No more Facebook. Since then, many have wondered if this stalker had a part in her disappearance. It's certainly plausible, but since there's been no update since 2015, we will never know for sure. Is this a partier on the roof? Well, in this first video, it looks like something just floating there. In the second video, though, it's on the move.
Guys, anjing itu apa anjing? Goblok. Ibu-ibu ngapa? Ibu-ibu. Anjing, goblok ibu.
That's definitely a ghost in my opinion, and it's 500% creepy. Let's just hope this spirit was just looking to party. Imagine this in the middle of the forest.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
That's what YouTube team Ghost Theory heard in these haunted woods during a paranormal investigation, and apparently it knows something.
Come and touch the device if you know anything about the girl that was...
A second question results in more mysterious answers.
If what that girl was not a person.
And then another unfortunate one.
Is that a skinwalker?
And finally, they hear it.
Yeah.
I'm out of it.
I'd be out of there too. I have no idea what a skinwalker sounds like, but to me, that did not sound animal, nor did it sound human. A man is complaining about the constant rain in Raleigh, North Carolina, when nature apparently has had enough.
This sucks. Looks like it's gonna be... Oh.
When you play frame by frame at 12 seconds, you can see a bright white flash takes up most of the screen and comes from the left. That means the lightning hit extremely close, probably his parking lot if not his building, and the video immediately ends. A YouTuber named JPays57 catches a 1.5 minute long slew of paranormal activity in a solid white room that's mostly bare. First a paper flies up, and then with no one in the room mind you, a woman's voice says a single word I wanted you to interpret. As for the piece of paper moving, I don't hear the wind, and besides that, the paper actually blows towards the window, so that explanation wouldn't really make sense. A toolbox and a closet open at once, which could be coordinated between two people, but there's nobody in the room to pick up the camera and see who's in there. I hear a strange, otherworldly sigh. Do you? It sounds upset, and nothing like the woman's voice before. The closet door closes, and then the door closes shortly after. Somebody could be on the other side of the closet, but nobody is on either side of the door. I don't see any fishing wire tied around the knob, but I admit it's kind of too far away to tell, so tell me if you're convinced. Paranormal explorer Chris Luna has spent many sleepless nights due to paranormal activity in her home in the Dominican Republic. She decided to record her bedroom while sleeping. This is what she captured. Watch the pillow on the bed. Next, the picture moves on the wall. Chriselle wakes up for a bit, maybe sensing something, but then goes back to sleep, and the picture moves again. Chriselle gets up after witnessing it for herself. That's when she sees this mysterious anomaly. And while outside, she captures this face in the window.
Esta es mi ventana. Esta es mi ventana. Esa es la ventana de mi habitación.
Has Chriselle unknowingly brought home legions of spirits and demons during her paranormal investigations? That's my theory, and it seems they're determined to never let her sleep again. A boy waves to the camera shortly before throwing a pass that his dad does not catch. As dad goes to get the ball, he unknowingly travels towards a random spiral of gusting winds. Everyone quickly backs off, but it happens too fast to even get out of the pool in time. Some people excitedly cheer as the water spout throws a random object really high into the air. One man is helpless to do anything other than hang onto the edge of the pool as it moves over them at 17 seconds. Fortunately, they seem to be fine after. And just when it looks like things have gone back to A group of chairs break apart. At least that's what it looks like at first, but it's probably just some towels getting flung around. This is a low-key terrifying moment caught on tape for sure, especially when you are relaxing on vacation and have your guard down. A creepy goat stands on two legs and stares ahead with beady black eyes. Reddit is trying to figure out if this is a statue, or is this a live animal trained to be as scary as possible. Its eyes kind of look expressive here at 9 seconds, and its ears somewhat move here, although that could just as easily be camera movement. Carleo Axaka has a 2-year-old daughter who refuses to enter a certain room in the house at any time, day or night. She stands at the entrance and timidly looks around with her hand covering her mouth, not even daring to go inside when her mother asks,
"Wanna come in here?" Okay, it's okay. Mommy will come out.
Years later, when their daughter could talk more clearly, she would go on to recall a scary man who lived in the closet. He had red eyes and an all red and black face. Let me know if you think this is really what she was seeing in this video, or if the child is simply making up a scary story to trick her parents. I will add that, according to the uploader, this was not the only strange occurrence to take place in their household. Her son would describe a boy named Marcus, who would try and play with him sometimes. All family members would also get deep red scratches around the arms a lot for no reason at all. Eventually they moved and have not been bothered since.
While exploring an abandoned house, make note of what happens in your periphery. Published in March of 2021, the footage you're about to see was recorded in France around 11 p.m. as a pair of paranormal investigators round the corner of a dark, empty room. They discover that it isn't empty after all. Just beyond a picture that's leaning against the wall, a figure moves quickly out of sight as the light falls upon it. It happens so fast that it's difficult to see what the figure even is, but it appears as though it's crouched slightly as it rises up before pulling out of view. The two-man crew approaches the hallway to investigate, but there's nothing there. Did it somehow soundlessly disappear into one of these rooms? Or as we suspect, did it disappear into thin air?
A paranormal explorer named Yash Sadiq brings us a ghost sighting all the way from Tamil Nadu, a large state in South India. This abandoned house has sat rotting for years until their investigation reveals the presence of something lurking within. A dark and mysterious figure watches them from the other side of a wall and then retreats. It looks like a real ghost sighting at first, but look again and you'll see a small edit here at 2 minutes and 33 seconds. It could be a camera glitch from Paranormal Energy. However, I think the real reason for this edit is because they didn't like the way it looked the first time and decided to record the scene again. Nothing like a good legend to call up some creepy videos. Posted by YouTuber Leonardo Martinez in January of 2016. The video is entitled El Pombero and El Dorado, Misones Real. What is El Pombero? According to Latin American legend, the mythological gnome-like figure is rife in the Paraguayan forest, but can be found across southern Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay. Pombero is mainly seen at night in rural areas and forests. Holding up in sheds and abandoned structures, he likes to mimic bird sounds, and the inexplicable chirping of birds is said to indicate that Pombero is near. If anyone so much as speaks Pombero's name out loud, he will harass them. Now that you know the myth, let's take a look at this video, which claims to have caught live action footage of the creature. Filmed in the forest, a group of folks are wandering through the trees when, off to the side, something that looks like a short stump starts to move. The figure hobbles in an uncanny way, leaning on a crutch. Needless to say, the people rush off in fear. It certainly looks jarring and uncannily real. If you live in Paraguay, I guess it's time to hide. You don't want to cross paths with this mischief maker. It's 10 at night when a sphere of light travels across the living room of a YouTuber named Play With Me. Moments later, this spectral figure emerges from the same area where the light last went off to. Its see-through body is especially visible against the dark hardwood floor as it crosses the room and walks straight through the door without opening it. There's no doubt that this is the sphere of a person, but is this editing or a real ghost is the real question. Maxim has returned to an abandoned cellar where a witch hid a doll in a coffin, and he probably should have kept away. Published by Russian channel Paranormal Point in May of 2022, Maxim does a ritual with the doll, lighting it ablaze. And he is told this by a witch. As he prepares to leave his camera in place and go outside, the witch reacts. And before long, things fall apart. After nearly being buried alive, he returns to the cellar to retrieve the items, after which he buries them. The spirit confirms that what he's done is correct.
Ты теперь свободен.
Do you think he's safe now? Me neither. In August of 2020, a YouTuber named Ryan Privy launched a solo ghost hunting expedition in room 423 of Irwin Street Inn in California, which is said to be haunted by a rowdy ghost, 3 of them to be exact. He concentrates on getting a ghost on tape, and soon he's surrounded by questionable noises, a strange tapping that sounds like it could be from the other room at first. But later, at 22 seconds to be precise, the weird sounds have graduated to the other side of his door. And then another clear knocking noise, like something coming from inside the wall. The ghost continues traveling around the room until Ryan suspects it's now at the window.
Are you scratching on the window?
It confirms its presence each time it makes a sound, and it makes a variety of sounds in a number of locations, so I think these scary noises are coming from an apparition in the same room as Ryan. Many human disappearances can be explained, but not this one. Published to TikTok by Horror Talk, this is one of the strangest things ever caught on CCTV. The scary video shows 2 young boys walking a dirt path. Nothing is around them, and they appear to be in a rural area, not a city. As they're walking, all of a sudden the kid to the right is zapped into oblivion. His friend looks over for a moment and finds his friend has vanished. He then runs off in fear for his own life. TikToker Void Z notes in the comments that there is an X on the ground, and the boy stepped right in the middle of it. Could it have been a teleportation route of some kind? If so, where did this poor boy end up? It appears something quite nefarious is happening here. A person is recording at an old memorial site that is apparently haunted when something gets his attention. When they turn back around to record some more, they chance upon a girl dressed in modern clothes with long black hair covering her face and chest. Then she's gone. Something about this video seems natural and unplanned. I will admit that there is somewhat of a delayed reaction during the double take, but maybe whoever was recording could only see it on their screen and not in front of them. Or maybe this video is fake because the girl could have simply ducked out of sight. If the person recording had gone into the building and saw nothing, then I would be satisfied that this video is real. Meteors keep flying over Japan, and they keep getting weirder each time. This relatively normal one, spotted in February of 2013, looks to be on a downward course until it burns up in the atmosphere at the last second. Then just 1 year later, another one manages to get even closer, this time piercing a cloud. When you investigate haunted places, expect to be followed home. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, So That's Scary claims a spirit from a ghost ship followed them home. Originally published to YouTube by SDK Paranormal in September of 2020, the YouTuber explains, there is a lot of strange things happening outside, which we really do think is directly related to a spirit named George that followed us home from an investigation. So what happened? Robert explains in the video that ever since the team investigated the USS Edson, they've been encountering the spirit of George. The security footage shows a shadow appearing to knock on their door. According to Robert, they heard 3 knocks inside as this occurred. The spirit threw rocks, appeared as orbs in their photos, and spoke to them via EVP. This is when they set up security cameras and caught this on video. George shows up in the form of bright orbs, invariably a black shadow orb, which seemingly causes a chair to move. Next, the kickstand on the bike goes up of its own accord. The spirit is wild, but perhaps he just wants to be friends. On the other hand, he's throwing rocks. Who knows what he wants? A family in the Bahamas recorded the horrors they endured. Posted to Twitter by Gilbert NMO Morris. He writes, it has been 14 hours now with Dorian in Freeport, Bahamas, and this is the roof of a home there. Take notice of the wind and rush of the waves. This family was already on the top floor of the house. Can you imagine holding steadfast in the roof of your home moments away from being swallowed by the sea? The event is reportedly one of the worst on record to hit the islands. The Bahamas will take years to recover from this. Around 300 homes were completely destroyed. No doubt the home shown in this video was one of them. If this video doesn't get your heart racing, it certainly did for this guy. His name is Daniel Stanley, and he gets so pumped up that he can make his heart do this. Watch this and tell me if you know what medical condition this is called. I couldn't find much information on this person, aside from the name and his reputation for being able to make his heart race so hard, it nearly pops out of his chest. So please fill me in about his life if you happen to know more. Here's another strange surveillance tape out of Singapore, this time at an apartment building in Tampines. Most of the orb videos I've seen in the past could be explained away as a piece of dust, but this is clearly something way different. At first, I thought that this was someone playing with a high-powered flashlight, but then I realized 2 things. You can usually see a ray of light leading back to a person holding the flashlight, but there's no such thing here. Secondly, the orb appears to briefly switch to a gray color when it hits the wall. Watch this part of the video to see the colors change. That's not something an ordinary flashlight would do. If anyone can explain these 2 things to me, then I'll agree that it's fake. The living meet the ghosts in this haunted place. Published by Proving Demons in November of 2021, these paranormal investigators may soon be able to lend their helping hands to cross over to the other side. As they wander through the hall of a hospital, they come across this terrifying note on the wall which reads 7.21-12.31/2020 can I help me out. It looks to be signed by Emma. Let's see if the crew can help Emma out. They come into an open area and note that they don't have to worry about the ceiling caving in on them as it already has. That's when they hear movement behind them.
Well, at least I'm not worried about the ceiling caving in on us because it's already caved in. What's this goes?
That's behind me.
Although they find nothing moving in the hallway, later as they're chatting in another room, another sound is heard off to the side.
If this video ever makes it out, you try and tell me what
They pull their camera toward the noise, but still nothing is there. Feeling scared, they head back and examine the room, which is a dead end. It's a disaster area, but there doesn't appear to be anyone in the room. Maybe Emma is watching them, waiting for their help. While communicating with the spirits using a device, something tells them again to help.
Okay, it said help.
A confirmation of the earlier request written on the wall. Is Emma trying to communicate? If it is, how can we help her? A creepy sighting of a large unknown creature is probably one of the scariest things to be found in the forest in quite some time. The camera slowly focuses on a figure with strikingly hideous humanoid features on an oversized head underneath hunched over shoulders. It easily clears a tall balcony covered in ivy as it straightens up and glares at the camera, its mouth gnashing, the edge of the dark woods at its back. Notice as it runs how the rest of it looks like a monster. It doesn't look like a person in a mask. If this is a costume, it's an expensive one that goes all the way to the ground. The uploader of this video claims that this is a sighting of the infamous Dogman of Michigan, a humanoid creature who is said to have been roaming the woods for years. If so, then this is the closest anyone has ever gotten to it before. But with that said, the quality of this video would suggest that it's either very old or has been edited. I can't tell which it is, so maybe you can help me decide. Okay, this video is bizarre and just plain really weird. A kid on YouTube named Nature the Bee is making a random video about his cat. Little did he know that he caught a mysterious figure on camera.
And that's the end of the first trailer. I hope you've enjoyed.
Creeping around the house is a strange, ghostly apparition. It was not part of the skit he was doing at all and really has no place being there. Plus the way it looks from behind the corner is beyond creepy. You can see some more scary stuff when you zoom in, like a freaky frowning face that the uploader thinks could be a ghost or a demon sighting caught on video. I think this video could be edited, but if not, then I'd say his house is definitely haunted by something paranormal. The Stones River paranormal team is investigating a haunted courthouse in Tennessee when something truly bizarre happens. One of them is talking about how cold her hands feel when all of the sudden one of the double doors leading to the bathroom unlocks and swings shut. The team tries to recreate the situation to see if it's just a loose hinge or a faulty lock, but this doesn't seem to be the case at all. The door has no problem staying open for the rest of the night and doesn't shut again. Long before this particular room was remodeled, it was used as a prison for captured Union soldiers during the Civil War. It only makes sense that paranormal activity would occur in this historic corner of the courthouse. It's said that on this battlefield, the ghosts of soldiers still roam. Published by Dark 3 in July of 2019, a man is exploring a region where hostilities took many lives. The tree-heavy area features a couple of towers and a brick wall dividing them. Despite the rather average-looking landscape, the cameraman says strange things are often observed here. After zooming in on the tower, the camera scans the tower from the top to the ground, which is covered by brush and trees. It is behind one of these trees that he captures a glimpse of a strange creature. It's hard to tell what this is. It looks hauntingly like an unearthly figure crouched down, almost out of view. Its coloring does not blend with its surroundings, making me think there's a good chance this could be CGI, and that appears this is the case. So I guess that explains what this thing is doing here, because it certainly doesn't look of this world. Someone is watching you. Published by Paranormal Voyages in January of 2022. This paranormal crew is not just paranoid. As they're tuning into the spirits and or demons of this place, one of the crew sees something pop up outside through the window.
There's something outside.
Here. Here.
Later, as she's wearing headphones to listen in to what the spirits have to say, she feels someone, and then that someone speaks.
Who are you?
What are you?
Whoa, move her chair, it said in a deep man's voice.
Well, so you move the chair.
After the demon says to touch her and make her cry, the crew urges the demon to leave.
Make her cry, he said.
No, you cannot make her cry.
You're gonna have to leave.
You can't do anything negative.
The woman looks very shaken up, and she says she felt weird vibes. Are these the vibes of a demon? More than likely. Footage was taken when a team of curious German explorers traveled deep into Africa to talk with a powerful shaman who claimed to have many spiritual gifts. When they asked him to demonstrate what he was capable of to their cameras and to the world at large, the shaman, whose name was Ovaku, decided to dazzle them with this maneuver. The tribe chants a mysterious song of celebration and encouragement as Ovaku hangs suspended in midair. This incredible act looks like it's taking a lot of physical strength as well as mental concentration to perform. The shaman is gasping for breath and appears to be struggling hard to stay afloat. When he drops to the ground, he is exhausted and looks like he is about to pass out on the spot. Determining whether this footage is real or not depends on how much you are willing to trust the German explorers. They insist that no lifts or pulleys were used, and they do seem genuinely amazed while filming, but who knows what they were really thinking for sure. I will admit that there doesn't seem to be any strings attached to them during the close-up shots, so maybe the shaman can really levitate after all. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.